Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So we get started now. So first of all, welcome to this workshop. It's the first time we are offering a workshop on yantras and yantra pujas and their benefits. So this, like many of the other workshops the temple has offered in the past, will tell you more about this particular topic of yantra pujas, which is something which you don't find. It is very rare that you get to hear something about yantras and their benefits. So it's truly a one-of-a-kind workshop that you're attending today. Before we get into the content of the workshop, there are some housekeeping announcements. First of all, kindly mute your cell phones or switch them off, put them on silent, because we don't want any disturbances during the workshop. We also kindly ask you to refrain from any video recordings or audio recordings. Again, this is so that you don't disturb the workshop. About the temple, Sri Vidya Temple, are there people who are coming for the first time to this temple? Can I have a show of hands? Okay, we have a few people. So this temple is very different from most of the other Hindu temples you may be used to. It tries to serve multiple purposes. So of course it serves as a place of worship, but it is also the center of a living tradition of Sri Vidya. So there is an unbroken lineage of gurus of Sri Vidya, which is a particular tradition of mother worship that is being continued and practiced in this temple. It is also a teaching temple. So we really welcome people of any background, genders, caste, creed, no barrier. We welcome anyone with an interest in learning about this tradition to come to this temple. So the doors are always open to everyone. And that is the principle on which this temple has run for the last 20 plus years. So this workshop is just one more of those avenues by which we share some of the knowledge of Sri Vidya. Also like to encourage everyone, especially those who are coming for the first time, to get involved in the temple in some way. This temple is a 100% volunteer-run temple. We don't have any paid employees. There are no paid priests. Everybody who is helping to run the temple, whether they are maintaining the grounds or cooking and serving food or performing pujas, are all people like you and me who came in to volunteer, who learned about the Vidya and are now performing various different roles to keep this temple going and growing. A little bit about the overall agenda for today. So we will break this workshop up into two parts. The first part of the workshop will go from now until approximately 4:30. At 4:30 p.m. we will have a 20-minute break for snacks, coffee, tea and so on. And we will resume at 4:50 and go till 6:30. At 6:30 we will have the Q&A session. So I'm sure you will have a lot of different questions as this workshop progresses. So instead of addressing them as and when they occur, what we will be doing is we will be giving you little pieces of paper that you can write the questions down on. And at the end of the workshop we will be collecting these questions and then we will be addressing them. One thing to note is we would like the questions to be germane to this workshop. So they should be relevant to the workshop. If there are questions which are not relevant, we regret that we will not be able to answer them here. And again, given time constraints, we may not be able to get through all of your questions. So we will do the best we can. We have washrooms there in the back as well as in the temple if you need to use them. Again, kindly mute your cell phones and kindly heed the instruction about video recordings. So with that, I will introduce Aiya. So Aiya, most of you know, I guess all of you know, Haran Aiya, as he is known to us, Sri Chaitanyananda, has spent his entire lifetime studying and spreading Sri Vidya, the tradition that today's workshop is about. Sri Vidya is one of the Dasha Mahavidyas, one of the great paths to liberation that involve the worship of mother goddesses. In particular, Sri Vidya involves the worship of the mother in the form of Lalita Mahatripura Sundari or Rajarajeswari. Aiya likes to tell us often about when he got initiated by his guru, Sri Amritananda of Devipuram. What Guruji asked as Guru Dakshina was only that he spread this knowledge. That was the only Dakshina he asked. And true to his word, Aiya and Amma have spent their lives spreading this knowledge of Sri Vidya, making it accessible, something that was very, very hard to get to, something that was kept very secretive in certain communities. If it is available this broadly and this widely today, it is really because of the efforts of Guruji and Aiya to a large extent. So, Aiya is also the founder and the Peethadipati of the Rajarajeswari Peetham, also called the Sri Vidya Temple. And this temple has grown and grown and grown. It is really the mother's will. It started in 1980s when Aiya got initiated by Guruji. And then the mother, the murti that you see in the temple, moved in to Aiya's house in 1990. At that time, it was the garage of his house at 33 Park Circle. And then we outgrew that, and then we came here about 20 years ago. Last year was actually the 20th anniversary of this coming to this particular property. And if you were here at lunchtime today, I'm sure you realized you were pretty much sitting in somebody else's lap. So this is for a non-festival day. You can only imagine on a festival day what it's like. So we are rapidly outgrowing this property as well. So we will talk more about an ambitious project we have, the Rajagopuram project, after the break. But for now, I want to bring the focus back to the topic of today's workshop, which is yantras. Again, something not very widely discussed even in Sri Vidya. Even in Sri Vidya, initiation is usually into the mantra. The yantras, and there are so many different yantras. What are they? What is the purpose? What is the scientific principle behind them? What are the benefits of doing yantra puja? So those are some of the things Aiya will cover today. So with that brief introduction, I'll give the floor to Aiya. Thank you.
Hari Om. Prajnanam Brahmayamatma Brahmatattvamasiham Brahmasmi Annapurneshwari Ambasameda Sri Sri Amritanandanada Saraswati Mahapattaraka Mama Sri Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpayami Namaham Prana Shakti Amba Rajarajeswari Parapattarika Sagita Mahamandaleshwara Sri Sri Suprakasha Nandanadaham Savaduta Tirtha Paramaguru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpayami Namaham Sahasrakshi Amba Rajarajeswari Parapattarika Sagita Mahamandaleshwara Sri Sri Kalyanananda Tirtha Parameshti Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpayami Namaham Lalita Shodasi Parapattarika Sagita Mahamandaleshwara Sri Sri Rajarajeswaranandanada Paratpara Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpayami Namaham Lalita Maha Tripura Sundari Parapattarika Sagita Mahamandaleshwara Sri Sri Ganashyamanandanada Saraswati Paraparatpara Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpayami Namaham Adi Parashakti Amba Sagita Mahamandaleshwara Sri Katambari Baba Jagat Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpayami Namaham Sri Dakshinamurti Samarambam Shankaracharya Matyamam Aswat Acharya Paryandam Vande Guru Paramparam Kanchivasaya Vitmahe Shanta Swarupaya Dhimahi Tanno Sri Chandrasekharendra Prachodayad Sri Gurupyo Namaha Hari Om. My humble pranams to the lineage of enlightened beings who have passed this knowledge from one generation to another without holding back anything. We are a temple and a kulam that follows Sri Vidya. And in Sri Vidya alone there are many traditions. For example, in the single state of Tamil Nadu, the last time I looked, there were 36 traditions of Sri Vidya. So, every state has the same story. Everybody, every lineage has its band of masters who have taught this Vidya. Now, if it is Sri Vidya, the central yantra is Sri Yantra, Chakra Raja, Yantra Raja, Sri Chakra. So many words to describe this. It has, you notice, all the other chakras, all the other yantras are described. Ganapati Yantra, Subramanya Yantra, Varahi Yantra. But for Sri Yantra, only the word Sri is there in front. We don't say Sri Tripura Sundari Yantra. This is the mother of all yantras. And it was not drawn by a human agency. In the beginning, it occurred on its own. It came into existence by Icha, the desire to spread. And from it, all the other yantras, all the other vidyas have come. So, being a temple that subscribes to Sri Vidya, it is important that when we venture into this wonderful world of yantra pujas, we have to be able to bring that Sri Chakra, Sri Vidya down to every yantra puja that we do. So for many days, many months, kept on thinking about this and meditating on how to set about this, how to go about this. This has been a long journey. And the instructions were that to bring the Sri Yantra down to all the yantras that we worship. Almost 80% of the yantras for the Stri Murtams, which means feminine deities, have a chaturasram, a square. Any of these yantras you will see, there is a square. This is called Bhupuram or chaturasram. So the need to bring the tradition of Sri Vidya into every yantra puja that we do, I thought, let's use the Bhupuram as the foundation. And from the Bhupuram build the other yantras. So anything goes wrong, anything we miss, the all-compassionate mother will absorb it and take it. And she knows our intentions. We are not here to spread the Vidya for money. We are not here to gain power for ourselves. If that comes, so be it. That's the mother's grace. So, we have incorporated the base yantra, the chaturasram. And when the chaturasram is implied, Amnaya devatas are immediately present. Purvamnaya devatas are there, Dakshinamnaya devatas are there, Paschimamnaya devatas are there, Uttaramnaya devatas are there. Just so I explain the terms, Purvam is east, Dakshina is south, Paschimam is west, Uttaram is north. Every yantra has its own set of deities in each of these entrances. But in Sri Vidya, the entrance to the north or to the east belongs to Rig Vedam. The entrance to the south belongs to Yajur Vedam. The entrance to the west belongs to Sama Vedam. And the entrance to the north belongs to Atharvana Vedam. So, when we embark on Yantra Pujas from this temple, there are many, many competent people here, both men and women and young people who are capable of doing and carrying out this puja. Pay your respects to the Paradevata first by worshipping the west, the east, the south, the west and the north entrances. So, once this Dwara Puja, you must get familiar with this terminology because it will keep coming back again and again in all your research, all your readings. These things will come. If you don't know the names, then it can become, it is going to delay your progress, that's all. So once the entrance devatas have been worshipped, Dwara devatas have been worshipped, if you want to become a little more elaborate, Purva Dwaram in the Sri Chakram, eastern entrance, is guarded by Pratyangara. Southern entrance is guarded by Sulini Durga. Western entrance is guarded by two deities, Narasimha and Sudarshana Narasimha. Both of them. And the north is controlled by Sarabeshwara. You can do the pujas for Sarabeshwara. You can see the combinations are endless. You can go on doing whatever that you want, elaborating it as long as your mind holds and the concentration does not dissipate. If the concentration is there, you can. Plus, please remember, when you are doing yantra pujas, if there is a congregation present, some of them will not be able to hold their concentration for more than, say, 7 minutes. Why 7 minutes? Their condition reflects. When they watch TV, after 7 minutes the program is over and then there's a commercial. That's the time you run to the fridge to get a piece of chocolate cake or a drink. Right? So the mind has gotten conditioned to this 7-minute thing. Remember, after you have done the pujas for the entrance, there are Chaturayadana devatas. Chatur. Nairudecha ganechanam Suryam Vayava evacha Ishanye Vishnu Agneye Shivam Prabhujayet. Nairude, southwest is Ganapati, northwest is Vishnu, northwest is Surya, northeast is Vishnu, southeast is Shiva. And in the center is the Devi. This Vyuham, this arrangement is called Shakti Panchayadanam. Especially the young ones get to know these terms. Shakti Panchayadanam. For Shiva Panchayadanam, Shiva will be in the center. Shanmuga Panchayadanam, Subramanya will be in the center. So this is a normal setup. Now, we need to find out what is this big deal about yantras? What is this yantra? Yantiram is a device. A yantram is called a device, a machine. Why is it called a yantram? A device will run, it will work. A yantra will run also. And because it runs, it is called a yantram. Iyanguhirapadiyal yantram. Now, there are 3 forms. Any deity will have to satisfy all of 7 characteristics to be described as a deity. anything, 7 characteristics have to be described. First one is Utpatti, where in the legends and in the textual sources is its origin described. Where? So if we take Subramanya, for instance, where is the origin described? Skanda Puranam. Second one is Sthanam, location of the deity. In the legends, where is it? There will be many books, many textual sources that will describe its location. Once the Utpatti has started, it can go locate itself in many places. Subramanya Hridayam, Subramanya Upanishad, Kumara Upanishad, Shanmuga Upanishad, lots of places. Skanda Puranam. For the Tamils, it is Kacheppa Shivacharya's Skanda Puranam. It is there. The location is there. So, Utpatti Sthanam. Third one is very important. Lakshanam. What kind of a deity is this? Is it standing? Is it male? Is it seated? Is it in Padmasanam? Or is it in Siddhasanam? Or in whichever way, is it in a dancing pose? That is Lakshanam. And how many arms does it possess? What are the weapons that it is carrying in those arms? Is it performing any mudras towards the devotees? Sometimes you will find this is called Abhayahastam. Other times you will find it this. This is Varadhastam, giving boons. Incidentally, in Mahatirupur Sundari, Rajarajeswari, Kamakshi, if you look, she does not give Abhayam or Varadam like this. Because in all the hands, all her arms, she has got other things holding. So where does the grace come from? They flow from her feet. If you look at her feet, that is enough. Now, Utpatti, Sthanam, Lakshanam. Third one, Mantra. The sound form of the deity is the one that the rishis would hear for the first time after they have withdrawn their senses to a restful position in the Anahata Chakaram. Please make a note. Not anywhere else. They have withdrawn their senses, package them, and they hold them in the Anahatam. Then the unstruck sound begins. Omkaram begins from the Anahata Chakaram and it starts to make its way upwards. And as you begin to hear it, they would hear the mantra being chanted. The mantras are eternal. Nobody chants them for the first time now. The mantras, ever since the deities originated, they have been there. Since creation began, before creation, the sounds have been there, except that ordinary human beings are not tuned enough to be able to hear them. But the rishis can. You bring down. What do you mean bringing down? What do I mean by saying you bring down the surge? The sense organs are always surging. Like in a power circuit, in an electrical circuit, in a grid, there are power surges happening now and then. That kind of a surge will mask the divinity that is inside you. That is the purpose. And if you keep eating Rajasic food, that surge will increase. People always ask me wherever I go, do I need to be a vegetarian before I can do this? You bet. Unless you are an Agastya or unless you are a Krishna or a Rama, you need to be. And when you don't feed the sense organs, that surge is lowered. This is what Manikavachakar in the Shiva Puranam says, Vaham Kaduthu Anda Vendan. Vaham Kaduthu Anda Vendan Adivelga. He reduces the surge. Once the surge is reduced, then you will begin to hear the mantra in your Taharakasam, the area between the Visuddhi Chakram and the Ajna Chakram, neck Chakram and the Ajna Chakram. Once you have entered that space, it will be inscrutable, pitch black. You won't see anything else. And in that, the sound of the mantra will manifest. So that is the auditory form of the deity. Then, the next thing that this rishi or seer who is doing this meditation, after hearing the sound, he will see a three-dimensional geometric form. That form is the yantra. And that three-dimensional form will first form in the ether. What is the ether? The space between the molecules that are in the atmosphere. That means nitrogen, oxygen, right? Water vapor, all the rare gases, neon, krypton, argon, right? All of those. In the space between, the yantra will manifest. Three-dimensional version of the yantra will manifest where he is seated and it will cover him. He is now in the center, inside the yantra. This is the first vision that they have. And then from there, using his yogic power, he will exit through the Brahmarandram and go up. Then he will be able to see the yantra in plan view. That's what has been given to us. This is when a rishi does it. There's one yantra that does not belong to this. What do you think that is? A Sri yantra. That manifested on its own because the Devi thought she has to give her children this. Right? So the first form of the mantra will manifest with the rishi seated inside the Meru form of this yantra. Then as he goes up, he will be able to see it down in plan form. And then he would teach his disciples that. So mantra, second one is yantra. Now, the rishi is given the task of making the others around him, the people to whom he is going to teach it, how to unite the mantra with the yantra. The deity, principal deity of that yantra always resides in the bindu, in the center of the yantra, bindu sthanam. And the retinue, subsidiary deities, attendant deities, all of them, guards, security personnel, all are arranged outside in various shapes. If you look at Tantra Shastra, if you start reading it, where they describe the deity, they will tell you how to generate the yantra. What should be there? Chaturasram. Imagine the Sri Yantram in your mind. Chaturasram, square. Trivalayam, 3 circles. Kanganam. Then, Shodasa Talapatmam, 16 petal lotus. Ashtadala Patmam, 8 petal lotus. Chatur Dasa Bhuvanaram, 14 triangles. Then, Bahirdasaram, Antardasaram, Ashtagonam, Trikonam, Bindu. In all the chakras, all the yantras that are there, Bindu Sthanam is for the main deity. And they had to come up with a technique of how to unite this mantra that is oscillating in the space between the Visuddhi Chakram and Ajna Chakram for a serious sadhaka who has been able to raise the Chit Shakti, otherwise known as the Kulakundalini, above the Visuddhi Chakra, and you hear the sound, you have to now bring this sound and unite it with the bindu. So they came up with techniques. That technique is called tantra. So mantra, yantra and tantra are three parts of this particular subject that are absolutely important. You cannot practice one excluding the other two. The upasana will not be complete. So, many of you, most of you, the young ones always here, they come and ask me, what do I do for this? I used to tell them, japam. How do I pass my exams? Japam. How do I get a good job? Japam. How do I get a good girl for my life's partner? Japam. If you supersaturate your system with the sounds of the mantra of the deity, the sound form of the deity, you become that deity. Tane aduvahum. You become that. And once you become that, your mind is not in operation now. Your will is dead. That deity is the one that is leading you. Until you come to that point, you saturate yourself with japa. That's important. Don't think that we just because Aiya wants to get away from that place, he is telling you, do japa. This is experience. First of all, in 1960s, when I met one of the earliest women disciples of His Holiness Swami Shivananda Saraswati of Rishikesh, India, she gave me Subramanya mantra. And I was so crazy that I should have a vision of Subramanya, morning, noon and night, daytime, nighttime, playing every time this mantra was going in. I think I must have chanted more than several million times this mantra. And the deity has no choice but to manifest in front of you. So I'm telling you, if you want to achieve something, you have to work for it. Nobody is going to come down and say, okay child, here, have this. You have to work for it. And if you chant, the easiest way. First of all, you have to become the deity. Then you start to practice the tantra that is there, prescribed for this particular deity. Look up. I'm telling you what my guru told me. Once Sri Vidya is given, you are a student for the rest of your life. If you don't see something, dig. It's more tasty when you say it in Tamil, nondipar, nondu. Dig. Scratch the surface, do anything you want, find out as many texts as you can, talk to people who have performed the pujas before, find out. Eventually, the deity will lead you to a technique that is not very different from the original that the Rishi intended, that will be suitable for you. It will be suitable for your mindset, your psychic, your emotional makeup, all of those things. Each one is an individual, just like a thumbprint. So the deity will lead you to that. So don't go keep asking somebody, teach me. If your guru tells you something, follow it. Eventually, the deity will teach you the tantra of how to take this mantric form and unite it with the Bindusthanam of this. So mantra, tantra and yantra we have covered. So Utpatti Sthanam Lakshanam Mantra, Tantra, Yantra. One more is left. You have to find out from the Shastras, from the legends, from the Puranas, how this entity, how this deity has interacted with its devotees, how it has benefited them. So, this is one of the reasons why the 18 Puranas were given by Vyasa. Those Puranams, if you read, you will find the stories given there. It will tell you how this deity interacted with the devotees. Whether the devotees are devas, or whether they are asuras, or whether they are ordinary human beings, does not matter. But you have to find out. Then, now this has become a deity. For this deity, especially in our faith, we go to temples. Not everybody has the capacity or has the desire or the will to have a shrine room in their house. Although when I was about 13, 14 years, I always thought every Hindu house has a shrine. But some places I go, I'm surprised they don't have it. And when this shrine room is there, when this a place for you to go and sit and concentrate and meditate and do pujas, if it is there, invariably you will want to have something solid. Like first you start with a picture, and eventually you will want to have a deity, and then if you are a little more serious, you will want to have yantra underneath that deity. Right? Now, there are many types of deities. All these are connected to the yantras, remember. Many types of deities are there. There can be deities made of granite. Sila Vigraham. These are to be installed in temples. Because the absorption rate of a granite Vigraham is much slower and demands a greater frequency of the puja and chanting of the mantras than any other material. Please remember, the frequency of pujas that you do, once a day doing puja is not enough. This is why in the way to worship Shiva, it is prescribed that you do puja 6 times a day. 6 times. That means patram, palam, pushpam, toyam, abhishekam, alankaram, archanam, all those things you have to do 6 times. So by the time you finish doing the puja in the temple once and finishing with Bhairava, it is time to start again. So the whole day is occupied. Granite is like that. The absorption power is much slower, and it absorbs. The rate that it absorbs, it will give out the power also, which means the granite murti will last for a longer time. Of course, after the Islamic invasions in India, they came pouring through the Khyber Pass, and they destroyed all our temples. Marble was used. Marble will also take the power, but marble will not hold it. It will let it loose. It will let it go quickly. The original is Sila Vigraham, statue. Then, the easiest one that you can keep in a house is Panchaloham, a statue like this with metal. You know the metal is the best conductor of electricity, and that there are various metals. If you can have a gold Vigraham, that's the best. Have a gold Swarna Vigraham, that will pull the power faster than anything else. Now, if you have a Vigraham at home, it must have a Yantra Pratishta beneath it. Right? Otherwise, you do the puja and leave before you have gone out of the shrine room, power is gone. The yantra will pull it and keep it. So the yantra pratishta underneath, even if you have a small Tripura Sundari Vigraham at home, keep a yantra underneath it. Suppose you are a Ganapati Upasakan. What yantra will you keep underneath? Nobody is going to, you're not going to be able to go and get a Ganapati yantram just like that. Say, Rochester, where will you get it? Put a Sri Chakram underneath. All the deities, any deity under the 6.4 billion deities that are in the yantram, in the Sri Yantram, they cover the whole gamut. Rama, Sita, Hanuman, Veerabhadra, Bhadrakali, Chinnamasta, Bagalamukhi, Dhumavati, everything underneath it is a Sri Yantram. And a ritual that is called Prana Pratishtapanam is done. Prana, life force. Pratishta, you have to install the life in the yantram, in the murti. Can we get your graphic up? Underneath the murti, what should you have? When you do Prana Pratishta, what will you say? Raktam bodhista bodhollasa taruna sarojadi ruda karabjaihi pasham kodandam ikshudbhava maligunam apyangusham panjapanan. If you look at the description, pasham, noose, godandam, sugarcane bow, apyangusham, panjapanan, 5 flowery arrows. You are describing Mahatripura Sundari. Any deity, she is called Prana Shakti. She is the one who will give you the energy. Now, I have shown you just an example, and the statue I have chosen is Subramanya because he has 6 faces and 12 arms. And when they make the murtis, it is not by accident that they have sharp terminals. The weapons end up sharp. There are sharp points. When you stand around this Subramanya Yantra, let us say it's Skanda Sashti, and you are performing Shanmuga Archana. You will stand there, and the Ritviks and the priests who are around it will be chanting Om Skandaya Namaha, Subramanya Namaha. It will hit these green lines that you see. The green lines that you see are the mantrottarana coming from various sides. It is hitting the murti and it is going down. It hits the murti, see, at the top, and it starts to go down. Once it starts to enter, first yantra, just beneath the murti is the murti's yantra. See, it hits the bindu and starts to spread horizontally. Once that is done, there is another yantra underneath it. Traditionally, these things have to be there, otherwise the energy won't hold. Gayatri yantra is underneath. Why Gayatri yantra? Why not a Sri yantra straight away? Why Gayatri yantra? The 4 pillars for our faith for this Sanatana Dharma are the 4 Vedas. And Gayatri is Veda Mata. Without the 4 Vedas, the Upasana will not give you fruit. So Gayatri is immediately underneath. Now you will see, underneath the Gayatri, there is Sri Yantra Stapanam. Any murti, any kind. Sri Yantra has to be there. And beneath the Sri Yantra Stapanam, there is another Shankha Stapanam. Shankha does not only mean the conch. There is a Shankha Yantram that is in 3-dimensional form, that is to be installed. And that material with which that you make that little unit is unique. You have to use one of the Panchatarus or something belonging to the ficus family. What is Panchataru? 5 types of wood. Al, banyan tree. Ma, mango tree. Pala, jackfruit tree. Vale, neem tree. Al, Vale, Ma, Pala. Al, Vale, Ma, Pala. One more is there. Arasu, people tree. Or ficus. Ficus, there are many varieties of ficus. The particular variety that you have to use to hold the energy, absorb the mantric form, mantric vibrations and keep it there is called ficus glomerata. They want to take notes, they can. This particular variety. The sap in the wood will pull the mantras, the sound of the mantras and hold it. And if you keep adding to it, it will hold it indefinitely. This is why when Punaruddharana Kumbhabhishekam, when they are reconsecrating a temple, they take the energy from the Moola Murti into little tiny miniaturized idols made of this wood. And the daily pujas, until the temple has been renovated and the consecration is done, is performed to this. That is called Balastavanam. All this has got to do with the yantra. See, we have come down to Shankastavanam now. Beneath the Shankastavanam, there is something called Kurmastavanam, turtles. Little turtles made of any one of the following materials: Swarnam, Rajadam, Tamram, Vidurumam. What is Vidurumam? Muktam. Vidurumam is coral. One of these materials you have to make. You can't make it, you give it to a jeweler or somebody, he will carve out little turtles. And these are placed in the 4 cardinal directions beneath that. So, Kurma Stapanam. Underneath that, gem quality, Navaratnam. Why gem quality? What is gem quality Navaratnam? You know, these shiny things that you want to put on your fingers? That is gem quality. That's the first quality. There are 5 qualities. First one is this. Sometimes when you build a house or when you build a new temple, like we are going to do sometime later, you have to do what is called a Garbhanyasam. Garbhanyasam, you have to do right behind the Garbhagraham. And in the Garbhanyasam, you are supposed to place close to 100 different items. And these items include Navaratnam, first quality, gems. Right? The higher the quality, the better the result. So, you can imagine, you want to buy a pigeon blood ruby, it's more expensive than diamond. You want to buy a real good emerald. That's more expensive than the ruby itself. The purest form you find. Ratna Sthavanam. Then, in the house, in the temple community that they are worshipping, somebody will want Vishnu. I want a Shaligramam to be placed inside that. Somebody else will want to have a Trisulam put inside that. So, there is a space given for Devata Sthapanam. You put those things underneath. Now, mind you, all of these things will become active by just worshipping Subramanya in this case. Right. Beneath the Devata Sthapanam, there is a line that says Dravya Sthapanam. Dravyam. Various herbs. Where will you find these herbs? Where will you find them? I don't know any other language in India, so I will tell you what is available in the language Tamil. It is available in the Tanjore Saraswati Mahal Library. The book is called Padartha Guna Vilakam. If you can't read Tamil, God help you. Padartha Guna Vilakam. There are 3 volumes. It will tell you exactly what you need to put underneath a Subramanya temple, a Vishnu temple, a Devi temple, a Kali temple, anything. You have to find it. It's like an encyclopedia. It will tell you exactly what to find, what quantities to find. So, Dravya Sthapanam. Underneath the Dravya Sthapanam, see how many layers are there. Underneath, there is a line that says Rasa Sthapanam. Rasam is mercury. If you place the mercury underneath all of this, it will encourage the mantric sounds to penetrate all this and come down, and it will hold the energy. In the Rajarajeswari Peetham, in the temple here, all of these things are underneath there. All of these are there. We have placed them. If you miss one, what happens? Proportionately, the result will be diluted. That's all. No big deal. Proportionately, whatever desired result you have will be diluted. That's all. If you take the trouble to put this inside and do it, now, all this is seemingly taking you away from the Yantra Pujas. So let's come to this point. Who can do a Yantra Puja? Who are the ones who are capable or who have the authority to do Yantra Pujas? Take this from me. If you are not initiated into any mantra, you have no business to touch any yantra. You can't. What do you know about it? You must have some mantra diksha. If you have Subramanya or Sri Vidya, very good. You can touch any, you can attack any yantra you want. But if you don't have mantra diksha and you think you can just go through life without making a commitment to a particular deity, forget it. This is a technique that you must, it's like anything else. If you want to practice it, you must go that extra mile. So that should put up a lot of questions and other things, right? That means vegetarian for life. No Tuesday, Wednesday, none of those things. Give it up. Unless you are born as a rishi of Agastya's caliber, or unless you are a Rama or a Krishna, forget it. So, there is a point when you come up against something that says, are you eligible to do the Yantra Puja? Who is the Adhikari? What does the Tantra say? Tantra Marka Purushottamam. Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam. Young ones note. Don't attempt this when you are single. Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam. Unless you are in the company of your spouse, you are not supposed to do this. Stapanam. Dharmini Sakita Yajamanam. In the company of your wife, you should. Japam, Dhyanam, Aradhanam. Japat Dhyana Aradhanam. You must be able to do Japam. Therefore, you must have a mantra. You must be initiated into something. Dhyanam, meditation. Aradhanam, Nitya Puja. At least Panchopachara Puja you must know. Otherwise, this is useless. Japat Dhyana Aradhanam, Nitya Yajanam Adhikaram. Every day you must be able to do this. For such people, Adhikaram, eligibility is given. So when you start performing puja to a deity, if that deity does not have a yantra sthapanam underneath it, it will not retain the energy, the electromagnetic energy, it will not be retaining. So all the murtis that are around outside the temple, they do not have yantra sthapanams. Except the Dwara Ganapati that is in front. He has a Ganapati yantra underneath him. All the others, there's no yantram. Therefore, even if an ineligible person goes and touches them, it will not affect them. If you have a yantra sthapanam underneath it, say for instance, out after the river, if you go up, there's a Shivalingam there. You have to do minimum 3 times puja every day. And imagine during winter, snow will be up to there. How will you go there? So it does not have a yantram. Okay, yantra sthapanam. The eligibility to do yantra sthapanam, yantra puja is first this. First one is have diksha. Just having diksha is not enough. You must do japam. And like I told you before, supersaturate your system with japam. Only if you supersaturate the system with japam, the 3-dimensional form of the yantra will first cover you and bless you. Infuse all the cells in all the systems in your system, all the cells and all the tissues in your system with the power of the mantra of the deity. Now you are capable of doing something. Until that, don't attempt it. It's of no use. So japam you have to do. A form of worship practice where the auditory seed sounds of the deity are mapped and worshipped within the yantra. This is the essence of yantra puja. Each of the deities that are present in various locations in the yantram. Let's take one. Let's take a simple one. Look at this. This is Ashwaruda. Chadurasram is there. You will see deities. You see the numbers. If you see, you know that there are deities there. And each of the locations with a number, there is a deity with a particular name and a form. Utpattistanam Lakshanam. Remember? All of those things are satisfied in all those places. And there is a seed syllable that is placed there. That is the origin of that particular deity. And you have to give what is called tarpanam to those deities at that point when you are doing yantra puja. You can, so if you are a Sri Vidya Upasaka, by now you should be familiar with the terminology. Vardhani Patram, Samanyargya Patram, Viseshargya Patram. All these three must be there. Vardhani Patram is your Panchapatram, Vardhani Kalasam. Samanyargya Patram is where you would invoke the deities in a shankam, the shankha that you see. Then, Visesha Argya Patram, a special argyam, a special divine liquid infused with mantras, infused with very particularly carefully chosen herbs to increase and maximize the power of the yantra is to be used. So first, the center kalasam, the circular one, this one, the first one, you will invoke, and whatever the yantra puja that you are doing, that is the only vessel that is permitted to move during the puja. From that you generate samanyargyam, the conch, the shell. From the Vardhani Kalasam, samanyargyam is generated. From the samanyargyam, after it is completed, Viseshargyam is generated. So in this sequence, with the grace of our Guruji, Amritanandanada, normally this process, which is called Sri Kramam in Sri Vidya, creating the Amritam, is a complicated process. It will take you about at least an hour and a half to do it properly. With the various nyasams, various places, locations that have to be identified within the body and without the body, all of those are important. That will take practice. What he did was he simplified the process and created 3 yantra pujas for Ganapati, for Shyamala and for Varahi. But deliberately omitting the locations of various deities in those yantras except Ganapati, so that the uninitiated would not be able to descramble them. You have to unscramble them to get the power. You will get, not that you will not get any result from performing a puja like that, you will probably get about 50%. Just not enough power to you to create mischief. You're smart. So the simplified form that he has created, I have decided we will follow that. And for all the yantra pujas that we are planning, this template is going to be used. Of course, when you are doing the puja in your own home, you are free to do the entire Sri Kramam that is prescribed for Mahatirupur Sundari. That is normal Sri Chakra Puja. Whatever that is there, you can do. Even the one that we use in our temple is an edited version, please know that. There is one nyasam that goes, Mahashoda nyasam, takes 3 hours to do. So, nyasam after nyasam after nyasam, you can keep doing. You have to choose what is the one that I can manage. Okay? And after that, even the yantra pujas that we are going to conduct in various places, various locations in our temple, a fully initiated Sri Vidya Upasaka will sit in front of the yantra, where these are. And he will create the Viseshargyam and create the Samanyargyam. And with a piece of ginger, properly cut, he will be doing Tarpanam. While the other people who are queue public, others who are interested in sponsoring that puja, will be seated, they will be given little yantras. Where is Vimalan? Where are the Subramanya yantras that I gave you? The laminated ones. Can you get one? They will be seated around the original yantra. Imagine this is the yantra that is there. Okay? So they will be seated around this, doing not tarpanam, kunkuma archana, akshata archana, tulasi archana, or bilva archana. At the end of it, that yantra will be given to you, you can take it home. And now that has been enlivened, so it will form protection for your house. Okay? As many people as possible who are going to sponsor the puja, you can do it and take it home. Now for that, to do that, do you need initiation? No. Because somebody is taking the risk for you here and doing the puja, the energy will be created in that yantra and given to you so that you can take it home. That energy is actually inside your body. That protection will be there. So, tarpana, archana, akshata, kunkuma, pushpa, bilvadala, swarna. Now, in America, you cannot buy bilvam. It's banned. Bilvam is available in Florida. And if you can find somebody in Florida who can send the bilva patram to you, you can use it. Bilva can be reused for 7 days. Lotus can be reused for 12 nights. Tulasi can be reused for 10 or 11 days. But every time you use it, you have to wash it and then reuse it. Kunkumam, Devi's kunkumam, can be reused indefinitely. You don't have to keep changing it. And the more you use that kunkumam, the more powerful it will get. All the mantras will be in there. I'll tell you an anecdote. 1994, I was in Devipuram for the first Kumbhabhishekam of the Sri Rajarajeswari Temple. Guruji, of course, in his magnanimity, long before we went there, he had told everybody about his children who are coming from Rochester, and all these people were waiting for us. There was this lady, maybe I shouldn't mention her name. Oh, what the hell. Haimavati Shankaraya. She had come from Mumbai, very devoted person. Wherever we went and did puja and came, wherever we went to do puja or sing bhajans or do something, she will be behind with a whole group of other ladies from Mumbai. And the moment I would do puja and turn around, she would come and touch my feet. And when they do that, you are in a terribly embarrassing position. If they are your disciples, then that is a different matter, because part of your life is already inside them. To this lady, I would take the kumkumam and put it on her forehead and say, Dirgha Sumangali Bhava, twang, she will fall. Like clockwork, she will lose consciousness and fall. First 2 times, 3 times it happened, I told Guruji, Aiya, what is this, Aiya? I put the kumkumam and she is falling. Guruji said, if you see her, run. Then he said, ask her to come here. And what was happening was, some of the granthis were blocked, and it would come and hit, and she would not be able to bear the pain, she would fall. So Guruji touched her. After 2 sessions, she was fine. So that kunkumam that you used for the Devi can be reused 1,000,000 times. Every time you reuse it, power is more. Okay? So here is the lesson. Don't throw the kunkumam that you take from the temple. Don't. You have no idea what it is. And part of the kunkumam, I don't know whether we have run out of it now. Maybe you have to ask the administration. Before the Devi was brought here, we did Koti Archana using Lalita Sahasranamam. Koti Archana. And that kunkumam covered the Ardhanarishwara Murti that you see in the temple up to her waist. And that kunkumam was collected and kept and given to devotees as prasadam. If that is there, it will cure any disease, any illness, any mental problems you have. Place it, it's gone. Okay? So, Archana, Akshatas, using Akshatas, Kunkuma, Pushpa, Bilvadala, and Swarna. What will you use? What will you do with the Akshatas that are used for puja? I'll take any bet, you must be collecting it and throwing it in the garbage. Keep a small tray. Here is some advice. Keep a tiny little tray in front of the deity, and as the Akshata, as the Archana is going on, take care to put it inside that tray. After 3 days, 4 days, maybe a week, cook that rice and eat it. It will go into you. If you throw it out, if a bird takes it, the bird will get the benefit, not you. Right? So, the above can be reused, Kunkuma can be reused indefinitely. Atma Anushandanam. Okay. What is the purpose of a Yantra Puja? What is the purpose of Sri Vidya? Aikyanusandanam. That's the ultimate aim. It sounds like a big complicated Sanskrit name, it is not. Merge with the Devi completely without any residual stuff remaining. Merge with Mahatripura Sundari completely. Then what happens? Now you have become the Devi. You can command the rest of the universe to respond to you. If you tell the universe, bring me $15 million so I can build the temple, it will come. You have to completely merge with her without any residual personality of yourself behind in there. Right? Aikyana Sandhanam is that. Yantra is what energizes the Murti. Yantra Puja is a direct and focused form of worshipping the deity and receiving the benefits. So if you do not have a yantra underneath the deity, even if it's at home, like I told you, the energy will be dispersed very quickly. You won't be able to retain it. So always get a yantra, energize it. Now, how do you energize the yantra? Very simple, japam. If it is a Subramanya yantra, 6 syllables, Saravana Bhava. Okay? Saravana Bhava. If you want to increase the potency of this 6-syllable mantra, then the Rishi who saw the mantra, who heard the mantra for the first time, has identified Bija Aksharas. Om, Srim, Hrim, Klim, Aim, Saum. Saravana Bhavaya Namaha. So, Om, Srim, Hrim, Klim, Aim, Saum, Saravana Bhava. 12. The rule of thumb is what? Akshara Laksham. 100,000 times for every syllable of the mantra. So, 1.2 million you have to chant. There are shortcuts, I can tell you, but I will not. Because all of you will become lazy butts and sit on your backsides and think that it's going to happen. You have to do the work. There are ways, but the ways are there until you are able to enliven some portions of your body or all portions of your body. It is basic counting. 1.2 million. Panchasakshari, 1.5 million. Mahashodasi, 2.8 million. Rajamadangi, 125 syllables. 125 million. Or 12.5, I think, you have to do. What are the shortcuts? Your body has how many chakras? 6 chakras belonging to the body, and 1 chakra that is out of your body, which is above your head, Dvadasantam. In the 6 chakras, how many petals are there? And that number of petals, if you chant the Moola Mantra with, he is not very strict with these things, 50% concentration. Okay? Minimum 50% concentration if you do, the deities in those petals will wake up. And those deities have been seen, if you remember what I told you earlier, those deities have been seen by some rishi somewhere. And that rishi and rishi patni will be there. So when you chant, Om Srim Hrim Klim Aim Saum Saravana Bhavaya Namaha, so many times all the rishis in the petals are chanting for you. I tell you a story. This actually happened with Guruji. Sundara and I were in Devapuram for the first Kumbhabhishekam in 1994. No, sorry, for 1990, the Pratishtapanam of the Murti. He asked for a Sri Chakram, and the Sri Chakram, the fellow who was going to make the Chakram, did not deliver it until the day before the consecration. Now, once the Sri Chakram comes, he decided he would do Panchasakshari, which means he has to do 1.5 million Panchasakshari Japam before he can put it under the deity, install it under the deity. So he said, I didn't know what to do. So in Devapuram, if you have gone there, you will know the highest point is the Shivalayam. He went and climbed the Shiva temple, and the dome for the Shiva temple he has built in the form of a Meru. He sat there. And he told, in his mind, he told the Devi, Amma, through some play of yours, you have sent the yantra only today to me. How am I going to complete this? I will do my best. I will chant as much as I can until I fall asleep or get tired. After that, it is yours, your job. And he kept chanting. He said he chanted for about an hour or so, and his eyes gently opened. Now, this is the highest point of Devapuram. Around him, he saw a huge Sri Chakram, probably a few miles square. And in each petal, each triangle, there was a rishi and his patni sitting and chanting. He said within 1 hour, 1.5 hours, Akshara Laksham was completed. Before you place a yantra underneath your domestic, your home deity or a temple, Akshara Laksham has to be completed. That is absolutely required. Okay? So if it is Sri Chakram, buckle yourself down to do 1.5 million Panchasakshari. If you have Bala, 900,000. So you are going to ask me now, so don't I go to work? Don't I do this? Don't I do that? How am I going to sit in front of it? You sit in front of it and do one mala. Rest of the time, driving, walking, going to Tim Hortons, all these things, keep chanting Panchasakshari inside your mind. It's counted. And the first time you want to do it, first thing in the morning when you do it, do the nyasa. For whatever mantra. Find out. If the nyasam was not given to you, invariably I would never have given the nyasam to anyone. Find out. You have to do the work also. Your gurus cannot hold your hand and take you through life all the time. So you have to do some digging on your own, find out who the rishi is, what is the chandas, and keep chanting. Aksharaniyasam. Tambi, are we in line for a break? 10 minutes. Okay. So the next one, from the initial absorption of the sound, the rishis perceive the geometrical form in the ether. Especially in a temple, let us say there is a Tripura Sundari deity, or Madangi, or Varahi. And what is the normal pattern when you go to a temple? You go to the office, you get a chit, you get a receipt for Arichana, and you take it and you give it to the priest, and they will come and ask you, what's your Gotram? What's your Nama? Your Nakshatram? And he will make sure that he will chant all. If you have 12 children, every child's name will be chanted, this, that and the other. Then he'll ask, Appa Amma irukkrangala? Are they home? When he's doing that, you know he's wasting your time. Remember that. And you say, I want Lalita Sahasranama Harichana. Happened to me, I'm telling you that. The Meenakshi temple of all places in Madurai. Amma and I had gone there late. And in their big board is there saying, if you want Lalita Sahasranam with Chakkara Pongal, that means sweet rice to be offered to the Devi, you have to be there before 10:30, otherwise they won't make it. I went there at 10:35 or 10:40. I went to the priest and said, can I have Archana with Chakkara Pongal? He said, no, you can't. So I gave him 100 rupees. Immediately it came. Right? He took me inside the sanctum and chanted straight away, first 400 namas were fine. Then he omitted the next 400 and started at 800. And I waited until he finished and did Kampa-arati. When he came, I said, I think you missed about another 400 names. Let's chant it together. Now, two things. I wanted to stand near there and gain as much energy as possible from the statue. So I took my time chanting Nyasam and Akshara Nyasam, and all the Nyasams were done. And then we chanted Sahasranamam at a very slow pace. He couldn't do anything. He chanted. But I didn't want him to be disappointed. So after he finished, I gave him 1,000 rupees. But he was happy. Now, what is the effect if in a temple like that, of that stature, if somebody chants the Lalita Sahasranamam, cut it off at 400 and then start at 800, what happens? As he is chanting like this and doing, the yantra and the form of the deity are building up in the ether. Right? It's growing. At 400 it is cut off. Then there's a gap. Then at 800 it will start again. Who do you think is going to absorb the thing? The one who sponsored it. It's wrong. Did you get what I said? The murti is forming. The yantra, the meru form is forming in the ether. And at 400 it has stopped. Now he has jumped to 800 and he is continuing. That gap is there. What is it described as? Binnam, a disfigured murti. And just like any temple, say there's a village, okay? And in this village there's no temple. Okay. The big shot in this village is Sundarana. Now he has to walk 20 miles to the next village to go to this temple. So he goes. And eventually he thinks, I'm getting too old, let me see. And he collects some elders in the village and says, we'll build a temple here. Okay. So immediately Sundarana is made president of the temple, right? And his crony, which is me, I made the secretary of the temple. Now we are going around canvassing. We have to build a temple here. Like what we are doing now. Okay. And I first go to Kavita auntie and tell her I'm going to, knowing that she is crazy about the Devi, I go to her and tell her, Amma, I'm building a temple here. She is overjoyed. And she's saying, oh, that's so, I'll give you $100,000. I have taken. $100,000 I have taken. Then, I'm going around still collecting, okay? All right? Then I go to Anagayan. Anagayan is still a student. He says, Aiya, it's a wonderful idea. I'm still a student. I don't have much money. I'll give you $5. That's all I can spare. Okay, it's given. And collecting like this from different parts of the community, you have built a temple and you have brought somebody from outside. Kumbhabhishekam is done. Great festival, everything. And you have handed the temple over to a priest. Okay? That's what happens. It's normal. First 4 years, 5 years, the temple will be booming because he will be doing pujas and he will be singing during the Arichanas like Vilas uncle and people love it. Okay? And you know what happens? After 5 years, this guy has slowly started networking inside the temple. Okay? He has found out that Jyoti auntie coming in the temple is also crazy about the Devi and she has a Meru in the house and she can do a little extra for him, so he will do super extra pujas for her. Like that, he will identify other people in the community and behave exactly. To some people, somebody will come and ask him, tomorrow is my father's death anniversary. Can you help me out? Okay, he will say, I'll come to your house. And when he goes to the house, he will look around and see, okay, there is a nice Sony TV in the house, right? Good things that are there, okay? And he will get dakshina and come. He will make a note of the father's sthiti. Next year, the man doesn't need to go and ask the priest. 1 week before, he will call and tell him, your father's sthiti is approaching. Like that in 10 years. He has outside involvements to the max. And what will happen to the puja in the temple? That will be cut short and short and short and short and short, right? Make no mistake, the Shastra tells you, if you install a murti with the yantra like this, and you perform puja, if you are going to quietly reduce the way it is being worshipped, no proper naivedyams, nothing, he has outside jolis, so he will finish this thing and scoot. Everybody who sponsored that temple, who gave money, will be proportionally. So guess, Kavita auntie who gave $100,000 get whacked properly. And Anagayan who gave $5, he will also get back, but it will be very small, like that. You cannot afford to let the murti, I call it deterioration inside the temple. That's not proper. And it has become a fashion for them to say, you are not born in this kulam, so you cannot do the puja. That's wrong. If you can't do it, you walk out of the temple, let somebody else take over it. Okay? Break time. Stretch your legs, have a cup of tea, then come back, we'll discuss some more.
Okay, so we will start now. Um, Before we go to part two of today's workshop, I wanted to share some information about one about upcoming events and the other about the Rajagopuram project. So in terms of upcoming events, most of you may know, tomorrow we are doing our annual Pratyangira Homam. So Aiya mentioned how Pratyangira is one of the guardian deities at one of the four entrances of the Yantra, the Sri Yantra. So she is a protector deity, and we do a homam for her once a year. Typically it is a Sunday following the New Year, the Tamil New Year. So that is happening tomorrow morning starting at 10 a.m. And if any of you are interested in sponsoring that, there are Sankalpam sponsorships available. Okay, so if you're interested, you can meet people at the bookstore. The second thing is, so Aiya has been talking about Yantra Pujas and doing Yantra Pujas on a large scale, where we will have a senior Sri Vidya Upasaka actually do the puja, but then a lot of other people will be able to participate. Even if they don't have Diksha, they will have these small yantras that they can do Pushparchana or Kunkumarchana too. So we are planning to launch a number of these Yantra Pujas, have these on different dates during the year, and probably a whole bunch of them during Navaratri. That is our tentative plan. So the very first of these is Mahaganapati Yantra Puja. It is going to happen on Sunday the 2nd of June. You can make a note of the date. Sunday the 2nd of June, we plan to have the first in a series of Yantra Pujas. It will be Mahaganapati. So you see this Ganapati Yantra here. That will be the one that will be on at this size, much larger, suitably decorated, and it will be performed in the fashion that Aiya mentioned. So Ganapati Yantra Puja on June 2nd. Again, as it gets closer to the date, we will be sharing more information about how you can participate and so on. Then the temple annual festival, the Alankara Utsavam, this year is going to come between the 28th of June and the 1st of July. So this is one of the biggest festivals in the temple. Those of you who have attended in previous years already know this. So it commemorates the establishment of this temple. So we perform this festival once a year. So again, June 28th to July 1st. Again, if you've not witnessed any festivals at the temple, it is one of the biggest festivals at this temple. We are also planning a workshop very similar to this one in Toronto. So there are a lot of people in Toronto who have expressed interest and have not been able to come physically for this workshop. So that is already, there are plans already afoot to have that in Toronto. If there are other cities where you think there may be big interest in a workshop like this, then again, come talk to us, come talk to the administration. Maybe we can think about organizing similar workshops in other cities as well. Okay, so that's as far as upcoming events go. So also want to spend a little bit of time, I think Aiya already alluded to this a couple of times, the new temple that we are trying to build. So, this temple I mentioned earlier has been at this location for the last 20 years. So last year we celebrated the 20th anniversary of the temple in this location. If you go back a few years, 1990 is when the Devi, the current Murti that we have, she moved into Aiya's home at 33 Park Circle, and his garage was the temple for many years until we ran out of space. And if you go further back, 1980 is when Aiya received Diksha from Guruji. At that time, the shrine was, I think, in a corner of his bedroom in his apartment. And so you can see from that point on what has happened. It has just grown and grown and grown. The Devi has pulled more and more people to her. And we are already at a point, like I was saying today, as you can already see, we are out of space. When you come for the Alankara Utsavam, you will see again how bad the space situation is. So this is a growing temple. It is growing very rapidly. Also, it is a very unique temple. It's not a temple that you can find anywhere else. every city now in the US and Canada has many temples where you can go and do a quick archana and come out. It's what Aiya sometimes calls a drive-through temple. Um, but this temple is very different. It is, first of all, it is the seat of a living tradition of Sri Vidya. It is spiritual and cultural center, so there is that aspect. It's a teaching temple where we really try to teach people, whether they come in person and they want to learn. Now we've also started all kinds of classes. We have these kinds of workshops. So it's a teaching temple as well. And it's also trying to preserve various cultural traditions. So there are traditions of, say, temple arts and crafts, right, which are dying not just here, but even in India, many of those traditions are dying from the lack of use. So this temple also tries to preserve that. And one of the main avenues for doing that is the annual camp that we have for children called Vibhuti Shaivite Immersion. Children who come for 10 days during that period learn a number of things besides just pujas and chanting and so on. They also learn a lot about the culture of temples and the way it was originally. So it's truly a unique temple. Now, where we are going next is really, the Devi, we have kept her in a garage for a few years. We kept her in a barn for a few years. Now she really deserves her own permanent home. And this is Aiya's desire and Aiya's vision, that we build a temple that is large enough to meet the needs of our community, the growing needs, as I mentioned earlier. It's also large enough that we can hold a lot of the festivals that we are having today inside the temple. A lot of the festivals today are being held outside for space reasons. A procession will go outside, and sometimes that attracts unwanted attention. You have neighbors complaining and so on. If you have a large temple, we can have a chariot, a small chariot inside the temple, a silver or a golden chariot, and the deity can be taken in procession inside the temple itself. So only for the really big festivals, like during Navaratri, you actually will use the chariot that's outside. So a temple that's large. Also a temple that is traditional. If you know, the temple that we are in today is not a traditional agamic temple. It was a barn where horses and cows used to be, very auspicious for temples, but that is not traditional temple construction. So the idea is also to have a temple which is traditional in its construction, following the Agama Shastra. Also a temple that is made of granite. So Aiya mentioned in the beginning how granite has this property of absorbing energy slowly, but also emitting it very, very slowly over an extended period of time. So if you can imagine the Devi, Ganapati, Shanmukha, Siva, all in their own independent granite sannidhis, think about what is the cumulative effect of all the pujas we are doing. A temple like that would have an enormous energy footprint. So if you think about this temple and how it radiates energy outside in all directions, that temple would be many, many, many more times more substantial. So these are the things, also to have a temple that will last thousands of years, which will serve hundreds of generations to come. So something permanent for the mother. That is really Aiya's vision of the temple. Next slide. So this is something that I think Aiya had this idea several years ago. Sri Amma was also involved. For those of you who don't know, she has been involved in this temple. She is a incarnation of Akhilandeshwari, who recently passed. But she was involved in this temple from the very beginning, and she has told us that this temple will come about. And with her blessings, we have been making slow but steady progress, as I'd like to think. A couple of years ago, we went to the town of Rush, and we got the approvals, the preliminary approvals to build this temple at this location. Now we also have signed up a team of architects. So to build a temple like this, you need, for the outer structures, you need someone who is familiar with construction in this part of the world, who knows how to build such that it is compliant with local laws, right? Which is a construction which is weatherproof for our given weather conditions. So we have found architects locally One of them is an architect called Ashok Mangara from Houston, who has been involved with the Meenakshi Temple in Houston from the very beginning, and he is very familiar with Hindu temple construction in the US. We also have structural engineers and people in Rochester who can work with him. And then for all the traditional elements, so if you can imagine all of the sannidhis for Devi, Ganapati and so on, being built out of granite with traditional carvings, built of traditional materials, traditional dimensions, you have to have an Indian sthapati for that. And for that we have just signed up with Sri Muttaya Sthapati. Muttaya Sthapati is very famous. He holds the position of the state architect, the state Sthapati for the state of Tamil Nadu. He has personally supervised the construction of more than 100 temples all over the world, including, I think, in the US, the Flushing Temple. Muttaya Sthapati was involved, one of the very first temples to be built in the States, Flushing Temple in Flushing, New York. He's also the Sthapati for the Meenakshi Temple in Houston. So that is another reason we have been talking to Ashok, because he has an existing relationship with Sri Muttaya Sthapati. Another strange, I guess nothing is a coincidence, but something to note is Muttaya Sthapati is also the one who many years ago sculpted the main murti of Devi. The one that is in our temple was sculpted by the same Sthapati. So it's our good fortune that we are able to work with him again on the construction of this temple. So we have now talked to Sri Muttaya Sthapati and Sri Ashok Magara, and we have got some preliminary drawings already for the new temple, as well as a master plan. How is that temple going to connect or relate to all of the existing structures we have? Next slide, yeah. So this, I don't know if you're able to see this, especially in the back, but this is the proposal right now. You can see, yeah, thank you. So this is the existing temple here, and this is the cabin where we are right now. This is where we are. And the idea is to have this new temple come up here and be interconnected. So there is a corridor which connects this temple, some sort of a meeting spot. And from here you can go into the existing temple. This goes to the library. This is where the library and the barn is. Yeah. Which one? This one? Yeah, so this is the barn where the Ratham is stored. This is the cabin. So you can see how this temple will essentially be connected to all of these structures. In order to build this temple, the house that is on temple grounds will have to be demolished. So that is basically coming somewhere here. This is the driveway from Park Circle that you come into the temple. So it's the same driveway, but once you come here, you will have this new structure, and then you will be able to come to the existing temple. So Aiya's vision is that any private pujas and annadanam will continue to take place in our existing temple, like it happens today. The new temple, you will only have pujas which are related to the temple itself, to the Devi. No private pujas will be performed here. If you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is again a blow up of the temple, just to give you an idea of what's inside. If you can just enlarge this again. Yeah, so here you can see there is the Sannidhi for Rajarajeswari. This is on a raised platform. This is called a Mahamandapam. It will be a platform that is raised about maybe a foot and a half from the ground. The Devi has her own Sannidhi. These are the steps coming out into the Mahamandapam. This is the top view. And here you have some beautifully carved granite pillars that are supporting the structure. Here we will have, of course, the Dvajastambham and the Nandi and the Homakundam. So all of this is a slightly older drawing. So actually the Homakundam is going to be here. Then here you have the Ganapati Sannidhi, again completely independent, with again beautiful carvings, maybe Shodasha Ganapati on the pillars. And then here you have a separate Sannidhi for Shanmuga or Kartikeya. On this side, facing the Devi, you have a Sannidhi for Shiva. And then on these sides, not all the Sannidhis are not shown here, but you will have Sannidhis for example, Ardhanarishvara, for Bhairava here, for the Navagrahas. Then you will have Sannidhi for Manun Mani, which is a new one, an addition. We'll also have one for Dattatreya, and then we have the 9 Mars here. So everything you see in the current temple will be here, plus a few additional Sannidhis. The main thing is, many of these murtis are today just against the wall. If you go inside the main sanctum, they will all have their own freestanding Sannidhis. These will be small. The main Sannidhis here will be much larger. So that's just to give you an idea. In this corner is the Pakashala. The Pakashala is basically where the Nevedyam gets made. So today in our current temple, the same kitchen, Nevedyam, Annadanam, all the cooking happens in one place. This will be used only for Nevedyam. It will be not used for any other purpose. For Annadanam, we will continue to use our existing temple and the existing temple kitchen. There are a few other structures here, and a whole list of everything in this temple can be found on that. There is a poster there in the back. You can see a list of all of the major structures in the temple. Yeah, this is just a southern elevation. If you see from the southern side looking out, here you can see the new temple. So the Raja Gopuram, the main Gopuram is facing east, but you also have Gopurams facing the 4 other directions. There is a roof and the Vimanam on top of Devi's Sannidhi. Right, you remember Devi's Sannidhi in the middle? That Vimanam pierces through the roof and comes out. All the other Sannidhis are shorter and they will be enclosed completely within this structure. So this is the Raja Gopuram. And this is just a side view. So I talked about that connection point where all these corridors meet. That will come here. And then if you go further, you will see the barn, the cabin. And maybe some more structures may come up in the future. Maybe we may need more volunteer accommodation, especially once we lose the house on the temple grounds. So some more structures may have to be built. Yeah. I talked about this already. So this is the temple floor plan. I think we talked about how you can see the names here a little bit. So Bhairavar, Navagraha, Manonmani, Nataraja, Ardhanari, and then on this side you have the Dattatreya Sannidhi. There's also an Anjaneya Sannidhi that is going to come, which is new. And again, like I mentioned, the Manonmani Sannidhi is also new. You can go to the next one. Yeah, so the temple at a glance, the new temple at a glance, it's substantial in terms of the current temple. This is probably going to be 4 or 5 times the space. Aiya, if you want to add anything, please feel free. So it is 220 feet by 120 feet in dimensions. 4 Gopurams with the eastern Raja Gopuram. We already talked about separate Sannidhis for Devi, Siva, Ganapati, Subramanya. The Mahamandapam with 28 pillars, very beautiful pillars, granite pillars, Dvajastambam, Yagashala, and smaller Sannidhis for Nataraja, Manonmani, and a number of other deities, a Pakashala for Nevedyam. So these are some of the salient features. We've already mentioned this a few times in the past, but this is a very rough estimate that a temple of this size with this complexity is going to cost in the ballpark of $15 million. One of the substantial reasons for the cost is because large parts of the temple will have to be carved out of granite in India. They'll have to be shipped here and they will have to be assembled here. So that is one reason why it is going to cost a bit. Right now, at the end of 2018, as those of you who received the email know, we have about $900,000. So we're approaching the $1 million mark in terms of our fundraising. So there's a bit of a gap, as you can imagine, between what we have collected and where we need to get. So one of the new ideas we have is, the thinking is, what can we do with the money we have, or just by collecting a little more, with about $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million budget, what can we actually build that will be actually useful and will be used? Because it doesn't make sense to spend the money on building the foundation and then you're just waiting for more money, right? That doesn't make any sense. So one of the suggestions we have from our architect is, if you remember in the previous picture, we had the Ganapati Sannidhi in one corner. Build a temple just around that. So exactly where the Ganapati is going to come in the new temple, build that Ganapati Sannidhi and build a little temple around that. So this is a freestanding Ganapati temple. It's completely independent. There's no dependency on anything else. You will have to walk up to it, or maybe there'll be a driveway, so you can drive up to it. So this, we still have to work out the costing, but we are hoping it will be within this $1.5 to $2 million range. So the idea is, for this, we will do the foundation, we will get the Sannidhi done in India, we will do all of the things, but it will be limited to just Ganapati. And then, once this temple is built, as funds come in, we can actually extend the foundation. Couple of these walls here will be more temporary, so they can be removed, and then we can actually extend the temple from this point on. So that's the current thinking. So this is what we are now calling our first phase of construction. And one thing I should also mention is, this is very much in line with what Sri Amma told us. Sri Amma said, we were all worried, how are we going to raise this funds and build this temple? It is such a huge complex project. And she said, just focus on Ganapati. Just focus on Ganapati. Once Ganapati Sannidhi happens, the temple will manifest. So we have her assurance that this is the right direction to go. In fact, as you know, last summer, for that reason, we started to do pujas for Ganapati. There's a gazebo outside, and we started doing the Ganapati puja already. So this is very much in line with her direction as well. This is just a side view. So here you can see the corner of the temple. This is what it will look like eventually. But if we just did this first phase, this is just the Ganapati Sannidhi without the walls. We've removed the walls so you can see what it will look like inside. But this will be the Sannidhi where Ganapati is seated. There will be a little mandapam outside. So that is what this temple will look like. So you ignore all of this. Just this little temple with a wall is exactly what we will have as part of first phase. So again, I don't need to tell you this, but we believe that this is one of the most meritorious things anyone can do in their lifetime. And it's not just our belief. The Agni Purana, Mahaperiva have said this, that there's really nothing you can do that can bring more merit than participating in some kind of temple construction, reconstruction, repair, rehabilitation. And so we believe this is something, it's really once in a lifetime opportunity for some of us to participate in a project like this, to create not just a temple, but a truly unique temple. This is a temple that is unique in so many ways. You cannot have this kind of temple anywhere else with its unique mission, its unique vision. So this is truly once in a lifetime opportunity for many of us. Next slide. So just want to conclude with how do you contribute to this? So right now, I mentioned earlier, we have about $900,000 raised, which will take us quite a bit of the way for our first phase, the Ganapati temple. I think we should still do some more fundraising towards the first phase. So many people here are already contributing. They have signed up for these monthly contributions, and people are contributing what they can. Like maybe like Anagayan, you're a student, you're contributing a small amount, but somebody else can contribute much more. So that's the idea with monthly contributions. And the numbers, really, it's a numbers game. So if 1,000 people were to contribute $100 a month, supposing we got 1,000 people to sign up, this $1 million we're talking about, we can raise in just 10 months. So it's really about how many people. So those of you who are already contributing, I really request you to tell your friends, neighbors, family members, get them enrolled as well, so that we can reach this target of about 1.5 to 2 million as soon as possible. It is really our intent to start some concrete construction work this year. That is our desire. Devi willing, that will happen. The other thing you can do, and again, this is another thing many people have done already. You have an attachment. Let's say you have an attachment to Anjaneya or the Navagrahas, and you want to contribute towards construction of a particular Sannidhi, or you want to say contribute to the Yagashala or the Pakashala, then there are people who have come forward to pledge certain amounts. So either independently, individually, or with friends and family members, they have come and said, we would like to pledge this amount. They're not making any kind of lump sum payment, but they can help pay that over a period of, say, maybe 3 years as the temple construction progresses. So on that chart in the back, you will see those green dots. Those are all different structures for which people have already come forward. That doesn't mean that we don't need more funds for that. Like the Devi Sannidhi with the Vimanam, imagine a granite Vimanam, and the entire granite Sannidhi may be well over $1 million, just at one Sannidhi, right? We don't know the cost yet. So even if somebody has already come forward to contribute to that, you're most welcome to also contribute. So you can talk to Darshan Anna here in the green t-shirt if you're interested. Right now we are just collecting information. If somebody is interested in a particular Sannidhi, we're just collecting their contact information. As soon as we have costing information, we will be able to get back to them. So that's what we're doing. We can also use any contribution of expertise. So you have some knowledge about, say, construction or any part of this project, please feel free to come and talk to us. And last but not the least, all of you know about this temple. I think in places around Rochester, Toronto, there is quite a bit of awareness. But then, of course, the world is a very large place. So definitely can use your help to spread awareness about this temple and this unique project. Already this is a global site. We have, through the tireless efforts of Aiya and Amma, Sri Vidya has spread from this temple to all parts of the world. We have devotees in Europe, in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Malaysia, many of whom are actually attending our classes. So again, if you can help spread the word. One way we thought about this is, when we do events here, like we are doing a Kunkumarchana here every year, maybe you can invite your friends and neighbors and do a small Kunkumarchana in your home. So that way you can, and talk to people about this temple. Again, I think that spreading the awareness is something that all of you can help with. So again, there's no contribution too big or too small. Like Aiya says, these temples, this cabin, the existing temple, all came about through hundreds and hundreds of small contributions. It was not like, a millionaire walked in one day and wrote us a big fat check. So it was through lots of small contributions, and we firmly believe that's how this temple is also meant to be. So this is, like Aiya says, it is Devi's desire. If it is her desire to have a permanent home and not be, in these temporary homes we have built for her, then she has to make this happen. And again, we are counting on all of your support. So please talk to me or talk to Darshan now if you would like more information about any of this. This is also available on our website. If you go to srividya.org/Rajagopuram, you will find it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Picking up from where we left off. Before I proceed, you see these beautiful yantras that have been drawn. I'm completely computer illiterate, so I can't figure my way around a computer. I gave the information to a software engineer based in Virginia. Most of you know her as Sambhavi Dinakar. This is her handiwork, all of this. And then the coordination and the write-ups about the yantras with the differences between each yantra that were incorporated into Guruji's template were done by Radhika Sri Ganesh. There she is. Put your hand up, Amma. Let them see who you are. Sometimes 10:30, 11:30, 12:30 in the night, I will send her a text saying, shouldn't we do this? And immediately the reply will come. So she's continuing to work. There are only about 14 yantras here that we have completed. My target is 51 yantras. Now, what Sri Ganesh told me, toiling to build this temple is not just Sri Ganesh's or the temple board's responsibility. It is each one of you. Each one. So senior devotees, learn to do a selected yantra puja or couple of selected yantra pujas. Okay? We will arm you with the yantra. You should be willing to travel. The The theme should be, have yantra, will travel. Go to Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Florida. Go to Miami. Go anywhere. Two things will be happening. Hawaii. Aha. Okay. Two things will be happening. One is you will help spread the Vidya and make people aware that such a thing is there. I will take any bet. Most people who go to a temple and come back, they want to go in quickly, do an archana and then get back, take the prasadam and get back. They have no idea what happens inside the temple, what happens to the murtis, how they are maintained. They have no idea. And I think it is about time the next generation and the next generation that's born and being brought up in this part of the country not lose any of their roots. And so far, the roots have been denied to us. It has been maintained in secrecy, claiming that not all are capable of doing the puja. Yes, we admit that. But those people who are capable of doing the puja have been kept away with various excuses. I think it's about time that this stopped. We have to, any temple you go, you will always hear Chandi Homam, Rudra Homam, Sadachandi Homam, Sudarshana Homam, Ganapati Homam, Navagraha Homam. This is what day after day, in place after place, done. No temple in North America, and I'll take any bet in most other parts of the country, except in Devipuram, have attempted to do Yantra Puja. Two reasons are given. They tell you, if you make a mistake, it will bring adverse effects. That is one reason why I have incorporated elements of the Sri Yantra into the yantras that we are going to do. All the yantras have a Chaturashram. And if the Tripura Sundari is there, she is going to protect you. Don't worry about making omissions here and there. So each one of the senior devotees will be learning a Yantra Puja and be scattering from Rochester to all parts, performing the puja and bringing back millions of dollars for the home. And remember, as you proceed starting to do the Yantra Puja, after Yantra Puja, you are helping your own sadhana, you're growing. And while you're growing, you're going to bring other people up with it, with the awareness. That's the only reason why this was started. Now, these are the basic yantras that we have used. In this Navaratri, I am beginning an experiment. All the days of the Navaratri, a Yantra Puja and the corresponding homam will be performed. That means, in the morning, in the Yajnashala, if today is Ganapati Yantra Puja, Ganapati homam will be performed. Next day, if it is Shyamala, Shyamala homam will be performed and Shyamala Yantra Puja will be performed in the evening. While all the time, all the 9 days, Sri Yantra Puja will be going on in the sanctum in the evening simultaneously. That will not be stopped. And I am hoping that at least the senior devotees and the younger devotees must learn Yantra Pujas so that I can happily hand over one Yantra Puja per day to some senior devotee and sit back and enjoy. Okay? You can't expect Shankaraya or myself or Sri Ganesh or Vilasaya or Natarajan Mama to be doing the pujas all the time. You have to step in and take the reins. We have been pulling the bullock cart for too long and we are old and tired. Now it's about time you took charge, take the reins and run with it. So learn the Yantra Pujas, all of you. And besides, you want to just do japam and do some parayanam and be happy with it, You're going to stay in grade 10. You want to proceed further? Learn. Okay? All right. Now, one of the projects that I have embarked on in this series is performing Yantra Pujas for the 16 Nityakala Devis that you see surrounding the Devi placed around in our temple. And the Nityakala Devi Yantras have already been drawn by Bhargavi. Show of hands, or if you please stand up, they will see who you are. Come on. Also, at the same time, I have initiated the preparation of the Yantra Pujas for the Dasa Mahavidyas. Is Charlotte Auntie here? No? Okay, she's online. Mrs. Chavan, who all of you know as Charu Auntie, she's the one who has stepped in to take care of that. And we have quietly started assembling the material to do the Yantra Pujas for those. So, if you put your heart and soul to this thing, building of this temple is nothing. It will come up on its own. You're not going to build a temple and live in there. Keep in mind that it is the Devi's temple, she is going to live in there. And if your hearts are pure and your intention is okay, she will find a way. Just like I still remember, like yesterday, when Stroudsburg Ashramam, which is now defunct, when I went there and asked me to do Sri Yantra Puja, when I did the puja, they asked me, will you take the murti? Because we are in trouble with the income tax department. They were going to come and seal the ashramam and auction off all the assets, whether they were fixed assets or not. And that included the Devi. If the auction happened, she would have ended up in somebody's garden as a garden ornament. So I said, I don't have a place, I only have a home. This is a temple-sized murti, I cannot take her home. However, I will not move without asking my guru what I should do. We call Guruji, right then and there. And I told her, Aiya, they want me to take the murti home. They want me to take Rajarajeswari, the Shivalingam and Mahaganapati. What should I do? The line went dead for 20 seconds. Then he said, if the mother of the universe wants to come to your house, who are you to say no? Let her come, she will find a way. And come she did. And he happened to be in the States at that time, so he undertook the responsibility of going and de-energizing the Devi. I'm telling you this because there's a relevance. I will tell you about it as we go on. De-energizing the Devi, taking the energy out of her, and packing and bringing the Devi here. Natarajan uncle and several of the old guard that were there, Chavan uncle, Natarajan uncle, Sundaramurti uncle, all of us got together. We packed the lady, packed the Devi and brought her here and installed her here. He withdrew the energy from the Devi and placed it in a living human being. He placed it in a Devi, in a lady. And when such thing happens, you have to remove the energy within 60 days, otherwise that lady is kaput. So he brought her with us and took the energy out of her and installed. Without Guruji, we could have not performed that. He did that. Right in front of us, he installed life into her. Now, the decoration that you see in front of you is a Varahi Yantra. There's one Varahi Yantra, this is another version. The Varahi Yantra that you see here is decorated in classic Devipuram style by Ahalya Akka. Can you show your hand, Amma? I'm telling you this because she's the one who is going to be decorating all the 9 yantras during Navaratri. And she has to do it in 6 hours' time. So, all this material, once it is worshipped, when the Yantra Puja is completed, it will be infused with energy. I don't know whether any of you have heard of the experiment that was conducted in Kerala, in the Padmanabha Swami temple. Remember the richest temple that has underground rooms filled with gold and jewelry and all that? This temple. When somebody asked them, why do you offer these fruits and all these, so much of these things? One of the professors in the university there got a hold of some equipment, and they brought and asked these people to be present, and they performed took photographs, Kirlian photography, infrared, ultraviolet and regular light. Superimposing one on top of the other, they could see an energy field around the tray of fruit. Right? The puja was done. Nobody touched the plate. After it was done, they took another photograph. The energy field that increased 2 feet from the fruit. He said, this is why we offer this. Now you eat it, all the power that was created by doing the Yantra Puja and while performing the puja will be given to you. You will take it. Like that, when you perform puja to the Yantra, look at the greatest distance that the Yantra has. In this case, if you draw a diagonal, from the center to the diagonal, if you have a yantra in your hand, the size of your span, this is usually 8 inches for a male. Half of that, 4 inches. Right? That 4 inches is to be multiplied 108 times. If you do the proper puja with the proper intonations, the proper bijaksharas, proper tarpanam, all the rest of it, I'll come to that in a little while. The energy field will multiply 108 times from there. And, for example, in the Sri Yantram that is in the sanctum of the temple, if somebody did Sri Chakra Puja, multiply that by 108,000. You can see the grace. They won't even know that they are in the grace. They are getting into the umbrella of the Devi's grace, and it will be given to them without the knowledge. So, without your knowledge, you are increasing and helping the community also while you do this. If it is a three-dimensional yantra like a Meru, then it is spherical. In the ground, above the ground, in the atmosphere. Right? I don't know whether you're familiar with the experiment conducted by the Mahesh Yogis University in several cities where they did this. And quickly, the crime rate dropped. It was like a precipice going down. So many things can be achieved. Now, when we do the Argyam, for the Samanya Argyam and Visesha Argyam, most of you by now are very familiar with the Sri Vidya Puja Vidhi that was written by me somewhere in 84 and then revamped and re-edited. If you go into the appendix, you will find a list of materials that you have to use for the Visesha Argyam. Those have been carefully studied so that you can buy them in any city in North America. There are health food stores. Those days there was something called the Genesee Cooperative Stores here. You could buy all the ingredients here. All the ingredients. And you make it. When you make it like that, it acts as a catalyst to the mantras that you chant. proper. And there is also, you will see a powder that is added into this thing. It encourages and enhances the absorption of the mantras into the water. I don't have to talk about Dr. Masaru Emoto, do I? How many of you are familiar with who Dr. Masaru Emoto is? Good. Teach the others. Those that don't know, tell them about it. You will find out what an effect magnetized water can have. And it is not just magnetized water that you have, it is the grace of Mahadiripur Sundari that you are going to do, catalyzed by the grace of your gurus. All these thousands of gurus that have come and taught the Vidya and gone away. Right? So, these grains that are there should be used in the cooking. After you've finished the puja, you can use grains, you can use vegetables, you can use flowers, you can use fruits. The choice of color and what type of fruits you are going to use is entirely yours. You can choose what you like. And in these yantras that these young ladies have drawn, I have also given them full freedom. You choose your own colors. And all of them have turned out like this. Right. Now, some of the yantras, once you do, if you are performing the yantra seated here and moving from outside to the center, if you look at the yantra in plan, it is very similar to the atomic structure, with the nucleus in the middle, 2 electrons in the first circuit, first orbit, 8 in the second, and so on and so forth. You can see. And this happens in every little molecule that is in your body. When you chant, the charging of it and the reprogramming of the nuclear structure in your body. And if you go on studying, if you are familiar with Dr. Tony Nader's work, it is worthwhile reading that book, at least referring to the molecular structures and the cellular structures that he has mentioned. He will tell you how you can even reprogram the DNA in your system, how it can be done with mantras. And the basis is Yantra Puja. You have to get to that point before you can start changing things. Okay? For instance, a person with type 2 diabetes, if he has achieved mastery over Matangi or Varahi, these two deities, full mastery, all they need to do is sit and apply their focus to the pancreas and chant the Mula Mantras. There are people in Trichur, in Kerala, who swear that it will change it completely. So, do your own exploration. Do explore the thing yourself and see. One other thing I want to tell you, every temple I go to, whether it is in India or Singapore or Sri Lanka or North America, some of the material that is being used has to be discarded. Because about a month ago, I received a videotape from the Kanchipuram Shankaramatam. And there, he talks about what kind of metal you should use, what kind of objects or what kind of vessels you should use to offer Naivedyam to the deity, to Kesava, Narayana. If it is acceptable for Narayana, then it is acceptable to Devi. She is from the same household. If it is acceptable to Devi, then it is acceptable to Shiva. He is half her body. Okay? Swarnam, first in order of preference. Swarnam, gold. Not 14 karat, 22 karat gold. And after you have been doing the puja for some time and you get tired, you can give it to me. Second one is called Rajatam, silver. Second material that is desirable is silver. Third material is copper. Silver and copper, both of these, gold, silver and copper, are antibacterial. If anything lands on them, the bacteria will perish before it is taken and distributed as prasadam. Only thing is, if you are using copper, the copper vessels must look like copper, not black. They have to be cleaned. If you have copper lamps or copper yantras at home, they have to be clean. If you keep a copper yantra in the house and it has become black, Sri Devi will not come and sit on the yantra, her eldest sister will. Jyeshta, she'll come and sit there. So, get used to the habit of cleaning these materials. So, gold, silver, copper, bronze. That's the fourth vessel that you can use. Then, if you earthen vessel, if you use a earth pot, that is better than all of the others put together. Even the yantras, when you get them made for your domestic purposes, for your own use, pujas, don't just go and pick something. It's worth waiting and spending for. Make it out of gold. If you can't get it out of silver or copper, the difficulty with copper is that you have to keep it clean. Very quickly, it will oxidize, and very quickly, it will form a layer over it, and the mantras won't be absorbed. You have to clean it properly. So, and the next material is purasu. What is purasu? I don't know the English or the botanical name for this. Maybe somebody in the audience can help. Purasu is Puvarasu. People from Jaffna, you will know what Puvaras is. And the other one is lotus leaves. They can be stitched together. And a plate, if you can get a big lotus leaf, you can offer the food in that. These are allowed. Do not use stainless steel. He was very specific in the sloka that he chanted. He said, if you use stainless steel, including for Pitrukaryam, whatever puja that you're going to, whatever puja that you're performing, you won't get anything out of it. He says the effect will be completely blocked. You go, next time when you go to temples, look to see what they are using. All the kalasams, all the trays are stainless steel. You know why they buy them? It is easy to clean. Stainless steel, plastic should not come anywhere near the place. Besides, if you use plastic, it's going to pollute the place anyway, right? So remember this. When you use yantra puja, when you are doing yantra pujas at home, keep the yantras clean. What time is question and answer? I think I have quite a few questions, and they are all essay type. Okay, so when the deity is placed on the yantra, and you are doing the yantra pujas, the deity itself begins to, without the yantra, the deity will not be able to hold the energy. But if you chant it properly and the yantra is beneath, and you have completed Akshara Laksham of the yantra, the energy will be held. And it will start to react after that for you to be able to feel it. Right? Now, if you have the deity sitting there, the question arises, when will you place the yantra? So, in this order, first you bring the yantra home, do akshara-laksha japam, then bring the deity. Until that happens, that deity that you have in your shrine room is just decoration. For it to become alive, you have to complete the akshara-laksha japam for this yantram and then place it on that. Right? When a kumbhabhishekam takes place, this akshara-laksham completed yantra is an essential part of it. Otherwise, the pratishta is not complete. And in the case of Punarudharana Kumbhabhishekam, what is the first Kumbhabhishekam called? You are building a temple from scratch and you have asked or commissioned a sculptor to make the statue, the Vigraham. So both are now brand new. Before you can install the murti in the temple, there are several things that you need to do. Most important one, of course, is to have akshara-laksha japam done to the yantra of that murti. In this temple, there used to be a gentleman by the name of Vidya Sagar. I used to call him Prema Sagar because even though he was afflicted with a terminal disease, one would never see him without a smiling face. He must have been in tremendous pain while he was here, but one could never tell. I gave the responsibility of performing mantra japam to this Sri Yantram that was 1 foot square to him. And he took all of 5 odd years to complete the japam. And Purashtaranam. It was completed, then he did 10% of it, Annadanam 10% of it, Tarpanam 10% of it is Homam. That yantram is the one that is still vibrating in the temple because Akshara-laksham has been completed. Show of hands. That's Vishal's father who did that, the japam. Now, once the japam has been done in this fashion, one other thing is important. Now the murti is alive. You have to give food to it, depending on the size of the murti. The quantity of food also has to be proportional. For instance, in Tanjore, Rajaraja Cholan built a temple called Brihadishvara. Shivalingam, you have to climb stairs to do abhishekam to that Shivalingam. It is that big. How much food needs to be given? You need to cook at least a sack of rice every day for him. It's not possible. So if you have a murti in your house, make sure that you give food every day. How do you give food to the murti? While you are cooking, right? You are doing it, hoping you are doing it with the Mula Mantra, right? Are you? While you are cooking, do you chant Mula Mantra? I have heard people chanting Bambara Kanna Leka. Enna se maidiliye. That's not the way. You have to infuse it with the mantra. If you know Lalita Sahasranamam, best time to chant it, it's that time. Chant it. And then, it's boiling and it's ready. Don't taste the food. It is not to be tasted. Then it becomes uchchastam. Somebody else's spit is being offered to the Devi. Don't. Something else that is important also. That Uchistam should not be given, and that Uchistam should not be given to anybody who comes to the house. Don't taste it. If there is not enough salt, keep a salt shaker there, let them put a little bit of salt and eat it. Don't taste it. Add ghee. Only if you add ghee, purification process takes place. You have to add ajam. Right? Especially if there is a completed yantra in your house. I will say it again. Add the ghee to your food. If there is a consecrated yantra with the Purascharanam complete that you have placed under your deity, add the ghee. Very important. Next year, I would have been married to Amma for 50 years. She has never tasted the food. She will never taste the food. And in the kitchen, she won't talk to anybody. So people think she's rude. They have no idea that she's chanting the Moola Mantra while she's cooking. And believe you me, the food is absolutely tasty. There's nothing, this is the secret. Don't talk about or gossip about people who are, because preparing Naivedyam in your house is a sacred duty that you have to do. You have to remember that. If you are going to have a murti with a yantram underneath the thing, it's absolutely essential that you observe some of the rules now because it is Bahya Puja. You have to be careful. You have to do all these external pujas and offering of the Naivedyam and offering the camphor and the Panchopacharam minimum before you can internalize the puja. Many people think that they can take the mantra and straight away jump and internalize the puja. Think again. After 4 or 5 years, you will still be struggling. Okay? You have to get used to the movements, the time. In the beginning, at least, doing the puja at the same time, at the same place is very important. And don't, I repeat, don't get anxious about the money in your house. How am I going to live? What happens if I have a stroke? That's her job, not yours. She will take care of you. If you have that much faith, just if your karmic burden is such that something is going to happen, that's when you use astrology. Not to go and find out whether you will buy a blue Mercedes with black upholstery. Although these days, that is what it is used for. Astrology is used to see whether there are going to be blockages in your spiritual progress. If there is going to be a health issue that will prevent you from doing your sadhana properly, then you do parikaram and get away from it. Right? And whenever, if you have a enlivened yantram in your house, anybody who comes to your house, offer food. Why? You have no idea how she'll come to your house and ask for food. She may come in there as the more irritating person, criticizing everybody and trying to see whether you will still offer her Naivedyam. If you offer her food, she will eat it and go. Many stories are there about this particular thing. There used to be, in Chidambaram there are Dikshitas, whose only purpose in life is to serve Nataraja. They are unlike any other group of priests anywhere else in India. They are distinguished by a side konde, like this. They'll have a bun on the side. And they'll do puja to Nataraja. And every day, I don't know whether that hotel still exists. In the middle, very close to the temple, there's a 4-story hotel with glass on the stairwell. At 4 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning, if you stand in the stairwell and look at the streets full of houses, the rooftops, you will see smoke coming out. Because all these Dikshitas are doing Agnihotram in there. And their wives are also like that. They will get up in the morning, cook, and come and give the food. One day, the lady was up at 4:30. She was ready, getting Naivedyam cooked. And she cooked the Naivedyam. She was about to take it to the puja room to her husband. From the back door, somebody knocked and called out, Amma. So she opened the door. There was a fellow there standing with leprosy, a leper. He said, Amma, I'm hungry. And this lady couldn't contain herself. She said, Chichi, po, Naivedyam has not been done yet. After Naivedyam, I'll give you. And slammed the door. And the day went. Next day night, Nataraja appeared in the dreams of all 3,000 Dikshitas and their wives and said, when I come to your house, is this the way you treat me? Why did you kick me out without feeding me? From that day up to today, any Tom, Dick or Harry or Jane or Nancy or Catherine, you go there, they will sit you down and feed you. Giving food. In the Sri Chakra Puja, that is an important part. Many people don't observe it. It is called Samayika Puja. After you have done the Navavarana Puja, after you have finished the Navavarana Puja, after you have done Swasini Puja, after you have done Batuka Puja, Kanya Puja and all that, next one is this Samayika Puja. That is for somebody who does not have the means to perform Sri Vidya Puja, and they come and ask you, I have no house, I don't know how to, I don't have a place to do the puja, you must make all the arrangements and give them. And this feeding of the people falls within that. If you don't do that, the life from the Sri Yantram in your house will leave. I still remember before I moved to the United States, one day jokingly I asked Guruji, Aiya, people like you, you know whether the Devi is in your house, whether she is walking or whether she is talking. What will an idiot like me do? How will I know? He told me, people will be eating from your house. They will drink the water. They will share the shelter. Continuously this will happen. If it stops happening, know that she has walked out of the house. So remember this. Okay? Somebody can read the question. Some of the questions, let me tell you, are in Tamil. So somebody who knows Tamil will have to read them. Give them a mic. நீங்க வாசிப்பீங்களா தமிழ்ல? நல்லது, சந்தோஷம். சொல்லுங்க. Read. English, read the whole thing, Aiya, so they can hear. Holy cow, that a bunch. Sorry. Okay, thank you. They want me to sit. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this question is...
Aiya, we'll answer the online questions first because some of them may have come from other countries.
This question is, Aiya, on a regular daily basis, are there any short versions of the puja available for Shama and Varahi yantras, similar to doing Shodashopachara puja to Sri Yantra or full Sri Chakra puja on special days? Is there a short puja available for Shama and Varahi?
Of course, there's a short version. The question is, if you are going to do Sri Yantra puja, if you are going to do Sri Chakra puja, if you are doing every day, the short version of the Varahi and Shamala puja are right there in the Anga Pratyanga Devatas. You don't have to separately worship them. If the yantras are there, you perform the Sri Yantra puja, and do the Aradhana for all three yantras. Done. You don't have to separately worship them. If you are going to completely and separately worship them, choose the individual yantra and then get yourself trained in that. When I say get yourself trained, do the puja daily for about a couple of months, it will become familiar. Okay, there is no requirement that you should perform Varahi and Shyamala Yantra Puja separately. Because if you know, the Anga Pratyanga Devatas, all of these are there. These deities, the Tarpanam is there and the puja is there. Okay?
Is there a recommended order we follow for yantras? How many days each of the Sri Vidya yantras should we be performing puja? So is there an ordering that we should do these pujas?
Yeah,
yantras?
of course. First is Ganapati, right? Then Mahatirupura Sundari, then Shyamala, Varahi, Ashwaruda, Tiraskarani. And you end up with Subramanya. Don't omit him.
Okay.
But how many days are you going to do? The person, I hope the person who asked the question must be thinking on successive days he wants to do the puja. This is the order.
So realistically, it may not be possible for everyone to do all the pujas. How do you find out your guardian angel?
Your guardian angel is Mahatirupura Sundari. She controls all of this. Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim, Rasi Rupinim, Naumim, Devim, Mantramayim, Matrika Pita Rupinim. She is in everything. She is the one who controls Ganesha, Grahas, Nakshatras, Yoginis. How many yoginis? Maha Sadashashti Koti yoginis. And the Ganas. Everybody is under her thumb. Okay?
How do you convince yourself or others that the yantra puja is having an effect?
You don't have to convince others. You convince yourself that the yantra puja is having an effect. If you are doing the yantra puja over and over again, you will see the effects on your own. You will see it. It will be there. If you don't see it, take the yantra and put it under water. Go throw it in the sea. It's not for you. But you must first exhaust all possibilities. That means you must be able to focus and do the pujas exactly as they have been prescribed. If you are doing a half-hearted job, one day you are completely involved in it, second day you think, today, then don't do it. You don't have to convince other people. You convince yourself, other people will be convinced on their own. They'll look at you and be convinced.
This is about Bala Tripurasundari Yantra Puja. After one has completed their sadhana of the prescribed number of Yantra Pujas for metallic yantras, what is to be done with the yantram?
The yantra is to be kept in your house. You will do a puja to a little girl in your house, and after you have finished the puja, you will turn her out of the house? That's a strange question. You will keep the yantra in your shrine room, and it will become part of your Nitya Anushtanam. The Nitya Anushtanam will include offering Naivedyam to whatever deities that are there, and she will eat from that. You can't get rid of the yantra. Once it is yours, it is yours.
But can you perform puja during your periods, your menstrual periods?
It is preferable if you do not perform Bahya Puja during that cycle. You can perform puja, but it can be Antaryagam. Samayika Puja, it must be inside Samaya Margam has to be followed.
Okay. So how can we integrate the meanings of each
One second.
Yes, yeah.
This is the traditional way of doing it. If you are a Pakka Tantric, that means nothing else other than Tantra in your life, no such observance are required. You can do all the pujas with that. But then, please remember, in that shrine room where the puja is being done, Rajasam will be predominant. To get to Satvikam, you have to begin after Rajasic Puja, you have to stop doing the Bahya Puja and start to internalize it. Otherwise, it will not become Satvik. And don't be surprised if you are going to do the puja during that cycle, if she appears to you and tells you, I want blood, what will you do? Then you'll start cutting chicken in your shrine room. Therefore, it is easier to take the safest course. The safest way of doing it is mental puja during that time.
How can we integrate the meanings of each of the avarnas and their devatas into the worship of a yantra, so that we are not just saying their names but also appreciating their significance during the worship?
Okay, very simple. Do your own knowing. Like I known to find, you also known to find. Like I dug, you dig. I told you, entire life of a Sri Vidya Upasaka is to learn after that, from the moment you receive the mantra. So go. These days it is much simple, because if you go into Google, it will give you so many connections. You can go ahead and learn. You must learn the nature of each of them. By the way, all of these yantras are going to be published in the temple, in English, in Tamil, in Sanskrit, in Telugu and in Malayalam. 5 languages. Right? And it is going to be given to serious upasakas only. All and sundry will not be able to. You, without initiation, if you take one of these things, let's say Dakshina Kalika, and you try to do the Yantra Puja, you will get into trouble. Don't do that. Right now, 3 or 4 people are communicating with me, having received random mantras from people, and things have happened in their bodies. They are not able to control their mind. The last text I got was, I am thinking of suicide. Don't do those. If you are planning on doing any of those things, please do me a favor. Go find a book in any one of the bookstores by a gentleman by the name of Gopi Krishna and read it. You will find out how he suffered trying to do this thing without the guidance of somebody who has already tread the path. Don't attempt any of these things without proper initiation. It is not easy and it is risky. Yep.
After each avarna comes the verse saying, we worship the avarna devatas with their mudras, siddhis, weapons, shaktis, etc. Are these aspects of the deities things we want to know and contemplate to get the full benefit, or is it sufficient to just say this verse acknowledging them?
What word is it?
The one where we worship the avarna devatas with their samudras, siddhis, shaktya.
Abhishta siddhim me dehi charanakata vatsale bhaktya samarpye dupyam dvitiya varanachanam anena dvitiya varanachanena. Right? Okay. That is a salutation and it is a respect to them. Remember, all these deities are more powerful than you are. What is wrong with saluting somebody who is stronger than you? Right? If you are that egoistic that you don't want to bow, don't attempt the puja.
I think the question is, do you need to contemplate all of these, or is it just enough to just chant the verse?
Chant the verse, contemplate on the Devi's feet or your Guru's feet. Done. Both are the same. Okay.
Then within the avarana of different deities, for example Mahaganapati, there are devatas with positive qualities and there are also devatas with seemingly negative qualities. For example, Durmukham or Vignakartru. What is the significance or reason for worshipping these forms?
The significance is that you want your life to just flow as a sweet thing all the time. It will be boring. There has to be some kind of upheaval here and there. Otherwise, the taste for life will be lost, man. It will be a boring life. And these names that are there, they are pointing towards particular vibhudis that are required for you to have a certain amount of discrimination. Otherwise, you will think the whole world is filled with roses and go and get hurt. If you propitiate these deities, they will point out, don't go here. Right? So, Avarana Devatas in Ganapati, especially Ganapati, there are pointers to this. That is why you see that even though those negative names are there, that's the first Yantra Puja that you have to do. Because then that experience will come with you.
How should yantras be placed? What material is suitable for yantras? I think we already covered this, Aiya.
No. If you are going to attempt Yantra Pujas, I hope most people have telephones where there is a compass built in.
Oh.
If the compass is built in, let the apex of the last triangle, for instance here, Ashwaruda, apex of the triangle face you. And the deity is, you are facing east. This is east. So the apex of the triangle should be towards you, right? If the apex is like this, the deity is standing and looking at you, or sitting there and looking at you. Okay? So they want to know how you should place the yantra. Yantras in shrine rooms, if you are going to do the pujas, the yantras, don't put them against the wall. The yantra is the seat, asanam of the murti, so it has to be flat on the table. Apex towards you.
Apex towards you, yeah. How can you determine if a yantra is legitimate, especially with the Sri Yantra?
Whether the yantra is legitimate? Then you must know how many sandhis are there, how many marmas are there in the yantra, and you should be able to see whether there are absolutely defined 43 triangles, 5 pointed downwards, 4 pointed upwards, the Shiva and the Shakti triangles, and you must see whether the sandhis and marmas. A sandhi is where 2 lines intersect. A marma is where 3 lines intersect. Especially in a marma, especially if it's a Bhu Prastaram or a Kailasa Prastaram, we have to now go into that now. Bhu Prastaram, Kailasa Prastaram. If a marma is not proper, there will be an additional triangle where the lines are meeting. And Yogini Hridayam tells you, if there are additional triangles, the yoginis in the various avaranas will curse you. So beware. Right? So how do you know whether yantra is legitimate? Who should write or draw a yantra? Tell me. Not any Tom, Dick and Harry. If you have to draw the Sri Chakra, you must have Sri Vidya, Upadesam. At least Bala Tripura Sundari. While chanting it, you must draw the yantra. And only such people have the adhikaram, the authority to draw the yantra. Okay? So now what is a Bhu Prastaram? If the yantra is flat and it is embossed, all the triangles, all the lotuses are embossed, it is called Bhu Prastaram. If they are ploughed in, if they have been drawn like that, that is called Kailasa Prastaram. If only the 3 steps of the Chaturasram are built in the form of steps and the rest of the Sri Yantram is flat, right? That is Agni Prastaram. If it comes up to the 16 petal lotus and that is in 3-dimensional form, the balance is flat, Soma Prastaram. Right? And the 8 directional deities, the lotuses are there. If it comes up to that and this thing, it is Surya Prastaram. the oldest Sri Chakram drawing or sculpture in existence is in the Baroda State University. It is drawn on a bujra leaf. It's a leaf. It is drawn only from the 14 triangles onwards. The lotuses, the squares, the 16 petals all came later. Okay. So the yantra has to be placed flat with the apex towards you. If you are a sannyasi, then you can sit on the other side. The base of the triangle is towards you. In all the Shankara Matams, when they do Chandramaulishvara Puja and they do Sri Chakra Puja, the Sri Chakram is placed so that it is suitable for a sannyasi.
If your Kula Devam and Ishta Devam are different, do we pray to each deity separately, or is there an order we have to follow?
Your Ishta Devam is separate from your Kula Devam. Okay. Kula Devam, if you remember the Kula Devam once in your puja, it's enough. But at least once a year, you must journey to the location where your Kula Devata is and do Annadanam. Feed people there, it will be satisfied. Otherwise, that Kula Devata Shapam will be there. Very similar to Pitru Shapam.
Is there a relationship between a particular yantra and a sadhaka? Is there a relationship between a particular yantra and a sadhaka?
Absolutely.
So how do we find out which yantra is beneficial for oneself? So of all the different yantras.
Okay. You have an Ishta Devata, right? Right? So the Ishta Devata must have a yantra. Get that yantra, right? Or first get initiated into the Ishta Devata's mantra and keep chanting. What happened to the Rishi will happen to you. It will build up and you will see the yantra. And if you keep, the yantra will go down and you will go, your Bindusthanam will go into the Bindu. Now you know which is which, how it is done. Only thing is, the source of getting the yantra, you must be absolutely sure of. There are these days people who have the ability to etch metal with a computer-aided etching material, etching instrument. They manufacture hundreds and thousands of yantras and sell them. Authentic source is important. If you are familiar with Chennai, I'll tell you where you can go and get an authentic yantra. Number 14, Hanumanta Road, Royapeta. If you want to go to the store, one step below, yantras of not much high quality, go to Navashakti Nilayam in Royapeta. If you want to go to the third level below, go to Giri Trading.
Is there a simple vidhi for prana pratishtha, or can we consider that regular worship of the yantra is sufficient to activate it?
No, don't play with prana pratishtha. If you are not sure of the mantras, if you are not sure of how to do it, there is no easy way. Lagu prana pratishtha is there. If you can get your hands on a Sri Chakra Puja Vidhi, one section before you go into Lalita Kramam, there is a Lagu on a Sri Kramam. Before you go into Sri Kramam, there is a section called Lagu Prana Pratishtha. Do that. Easy. One of the easiest ways that I have found is that there is a book that comes out of Ramakrishna Mission, Manavar Illam, students, residents in Chennai. The gentleman, the author's name, he's no more. He was a great Sri Vidya Upasaka. His name is Anna Subramanya Aiyer. In his book, there is a Lagu Prana Pratishtha Vidhi. You can learn that and do it. Otherwise, take it to a competent authority. Somebody who has been doing Sri Chakra Puja for years together. Give your yantra to him, ask him to do Pratishtha and bring it home. And he will, if he knows that he is going to be taken from that place to another house to do puja, he will do what is known as chara pradishta. That means after the pradishta you can move the yantra. Otherwise, get him to come to your house and do the pradishta. Once he finishes, give him dakshina. Swarna pushpam.
Once you worship a yantra, do you have to continue the process? So if I keep a Sri yantra at home and I finish worshipping it, I think they mean like a Akshara Laksham.
How will you finish worshipping a Sri yantra?
I think they mean Akshara Laksham.
That I would like to know. How do you finish worshipping a Sri yantra?
Okay.
There is no end point here. Once you start with the Sri yantra, you are stuck with it for the rest of your life. And after that, your son or your daughters or your granddaughters or your great-granddaughters or sons. And it has to go through like that. There is no stopping. So, it tells me that you are interested in doing the Sri Chakra Puja just so that you can get something and after that you dump her. No way. That's not correct. You cannot do that.
Can we buy, this is asking Aiya, can we buy yantras at the temple or elsewhere that are already energized?
From this temple?
Yeah, that's the question.
Do we have, where is Vimalan? He hides. Vimalan, do we have consecrated Sri Chakras in this temple for sale? No.
What do you need to do?
1 second. You can buy consecrated Sri Chakras from my Guru's temple, which is in Devipuram. Not anymore? Hello. Maybe we can give them Welling's address. But he won't sell, eh?
They won't be energized.
They won't be energized, that's for sure. If you have a Sri Chakra, you bring it here, I will energize it for you. That much I will do. And it is left to me to decide whether that Sri Chakra has to be energized or not. If it is not perfect, I will not. Okay? So, no, we don't have a place.
What do you need to do beforehand, homework, before you attempt a yantra puja?
What is the homework you have to do?
Yeah, before you attempt a yantra puja, what do you need to do beforehand? Like
Study everything about the yantra that you are about to do puja to. Go online, find out, ask people, beg, borrow, steal the information and learn it.
What is a good yantra puja to start with for practice?
Very easy, Ganapati. If you are interested in doing Sri Vidya Puja, Sri Vidya Yantra Puja, Bala Tirupur Sundari. Yantra Puja is that is the one that you have to begin with.
Okay. What is the most effective way to do yantra puja without physically sitting down to do one?
What? Without sitting down to do the puja, what is the easiest way of doing it? Holy cow. Okay, here is a very easy method that I will tell you. The preparatory stage, the homework that somebody asked, how will we do the puja? In this temple, there is a CD, compact disc that we produced, which will tell you Shadadara Puja. Get that CD. I don't know how, because I have no idea whether they have stocks of them. Get that CD and listen to it until you can listen to it no more over a period of 3 months. No radio, no cinema songs, nothing. Wherever you drive, only this Shadadara Puja must go in. That way, all your chakras, Mooladharam, Swadhishtanam, Manipuraham, Anahadam, Visuddhi Ajna will be cleared, will be purified. After that you can enter the Yantra Puja. It was made for people who have no time to sit down and do puja, like that question, you know. How do I do Yantra Puja without sitting down? Why, you want to run? Maybe at a very later time we can produce a Yantra Puja CD so that they can listen to it while they are on their way to work. There's no other way. You have to sit and do it.
Why do we put kungumam on the Sri Chakram or Meru? Is it purely symbolic or is there some energy associated with it?
Both. Enough of an answer? Kunkumam is a sign of auspiciousness, Mangalam. So Kunkumam, if you offer the Kunkumam, she is Nitya Sumangali. She is Akanda Saubhagyadayini. She is eternally auspicious. And for an auspicious lady, Kunkumam is essential. Not a sticker pottu, remember. Kunkumam is absolutely essential. The stickers will only irritate your skin and you will have to go for treatment. And many people complain to me saying that the sticker or the kunkumam is irritating the skin here. Why do you want to put it here? Put it on top. Nothing will happen.
How do you do Yantra Puja when you're traveling?
When you're traveling, Yantra Pujas can be visualized in your mind. Let us say you're flying and Yantra Puja is being done and the air hostess brings you your breakfast. You offer that as Naivedyam and you eat it. I am serious. Just because you are flying does not give you or excuse you from not feeding her. You feed your mouth wherever you are going. You feed your face. Why don't you want to feed her? So before anything goes in your mouth, offer it to the Devi. That's how you do Yantra Puja. While you are traveling, visualize it.
If you happen to have a marble deity, you said the energy doesn't stay. Where does it go?
It doesn't go anywhere. It dissipates into the atmosphere. It dissipates into the atmosphere. Into the ether. It dissipates. And then you have to keep putting it back again. And there are even the Vedic way of worship. Palam, Patram, Pushpam, Toyam. Right? Toyam is water. What does the water imply? It means you have to do Abhishekam. If you have a marble murti and you keep doing Abhishekam every day, after 6 years, you will find irrigation channels on the murti. It will erode. Because that is not a material that is hard enough to resist the eroding capacities or the qualities of the water. And one doesn't know what kind of water you are using. If what comes out of your tap is not very purified, you know that they chlorinate the water. So you know that there is very dilute hydrochlorous acid in the water. If you pour it, it's going to go. If you put fruit juice, same thing. So, I think it is better that you find a metallic murti, at least, panchalokam, not anything else. And let the murti be solid, let it not be hollow. If it is hollow, you are asking for trouble.
A similar question, Aiya. What is the importance of a murti being able to retain the energy after a puja? You talked about the murti retaining energy after a puja. What is the purpose of that, of the murti retaining the energy?
So that anybody who comes into the shrine room is not worshipping an empty shell. They are worshipping a living, breathing entity in that murti.
Should we, you talked about controlling the senses, right? Should we slowly train our senses or should we immediately force control over our senses?
Read the question again.
Should we slowly train our senses or should we immediately force control over our senses?
If you try to do that, it will break out in some other way. And one of the things that it will do, if you try to block the thing all of a sudden, if you're trying to put a cap on all the sense organs, you will lose your temper at the drop of a hat. And if you lose your temper, all the japam that you have done up to that point is out the window. So is it worth it? No. So slowly, by degrees. How do you gain control? That is when Panchopachara Puja comes into being. You use Pushpam, Dhupam, Deepam, Naivedyam, Nirajanam. It will slow. Why do you think the rishis spoke about the Panchopacharam? It's for this purpose, so that you can gain control. Don't block it immediately. If you try to bottle the thing up, one day it is going to explode.
Is the main goal of the yantra for us to get to the bindu state?
Mm-hmm.
That was the question, Aiya. It's a yes or no question.
The purpose of the yantra puja is so that you will merge with the deity. You must become Aikkyanusantanam. That is the main tantra for Sri Yantra Puja. So any of the other yantras that have come out of her also have the bindu, you have to merge with the deity. That's the purpose.
For the Subramanya yantra, why is the bindu not in the middle?
That is exactly the way it has been portrayed. And where is the source? Kumara Tantram.
Okay, yeah. My understanding is that mantra japam has to be completed on the yantra prior to placing it under the murti.
Correct.
Is this correct? Yes, okay. How come some yantras, the numbers start from the inside and some from the outside? Are the effects different?
Yes, they are. If you start the yantra puja from the bindu and come outside, that particular type of puja is called pravritti markam, srishti kramam. That means you are interested in all the material baggage that we surround ourselves with. She will give you all those things, bhoga and all those things. All the bhogam will be given, material things will be given. If you go from outside to the inside, it is called nivritti markam, destructive path, where everything will collapse into a point. The Sri Yantra Puja, thank God, is nivritti markam. And if you do Sri Vidya Puja, Sri Chakra Puja, the peculiarity with that is Ya Devada Bhogakari Sana Mokshaya Kalpade Sri Sundari Pujana Tatparanam Bhogasya Mokshasya Karastayeva. She will give Bhoga and Moksha at the same time. That's the best condition to be in. You can enjoy all you want while you're on this planet, and when you die, she will come and take you into the Sri Chakram.
What exists in the ether besides the yantra, and how can we perceive it?
What exists in the ether besides the yantra?
Besides the yantra.
Devata exists in the ether. And all the mantras that are being chanted, they exist in the ether. If you are prepared, if you are equipped in such a way that you can receive the mantras and hear it, right? Then you are a rishi now. Okay.
This is about Akshara Laksha, Aiya. You mentioned we need to do Akshara Laksha Japam before we install a yantra. Should the Akshara Laksha Japam be done within a certain period of time, a certain number of hours, for instance?
Not at all. You can take your time. And the longer you take to finish the Akshara Laksham, the longer it is going to take you to install the Murti. So if you want the Murti to be installed and be complete in your house, you will sit down and buckle down and do the Akshara Laksham, Japam.
Is there a baseline structure in making a yantra?
Hmm?
Is there a baseline structure in making a yantra? I don't know how to interpret this.
For making a yantra?
Or maybe a basic procedure, Aiya, like
Basic procedure to draw the yantra? Most of the tantras and texts that detail yantra pujas, they will tell you how to draw the yantra. They will tell you. See, I'll tell you a very simple example. When you do Visasharkyam, Mandalam, that's a yantra, right? What it tells you? Idi bindau, idi trikonaka, idi vrittaha, idi shatkonaka, idi chaduratmakam mandalam vilikya. That means you put the bindu first, then you put the triangle, then you put a circle, then you put the hexagon, then you put a square. That's a very simple procedure. Like that, there are procedures for every one of these yantras.
Yeah, you said not to use stainless steel for Nevedyam. What about eating? Like even at our temple we are using plates.
Unfortunately, that is the reality we are faced with. I would prefer that we use either ceramic or earthenware. I am told, I have been quietly making inquiries, I am told in Andhra they are making this. Earthenware plates that you can eat, and they are dirt cheap. They are environmentally friendly, and the problem is, Tambi, the problem is, eating the food from that is okay. What about the food that is being served from those vessels? So we have to find all of those. See, we are also evolving. We are not stagnant. And slowly when the information comes, I try to incorporate it. I experience a stone wall immediately. Oh, it is too expensive. What are you going to do? You're going to throw out all the money. If you want it properly done, you have to make the changes. If you can't make the changes and you can't grow with the changes, then you're in the wrong business. Right? Remember when we did Atirudram, we got those plates from the betel nut tree plates. Those are very useful. I don't know why we stopped getting them. That is good enough even for day-to-day use. But then the people in the kitchen will tell me, you're wasting money. They're only worried about the money. They are not worried about what happens to your sadhana. That whatever happens, who cares?
Yeah, this question was from the group, the online group. So they're asking, please explain the concept of Kaula Chandi Vinayaka.
Huh?
Kalau Chandi Vinayaka. Kalau Chandi Vinayaka. Kaula Chandi Vinayaka.
Kaula? What is Kaulacharam? Huh?
No, I'll just move on to the next question.
No, wait. First of all, you must realize that if you are going to do Sri Vidya Puja, get into Sri Vidya Puja, there are 5 paths available to you. One is complete Vamacharam, left-handed, where meat, alcohol, all those things, that is not suitable for this day and age. On the right side, Dakshinacharam, where you are only allowed to chant from the Vedas. You cannot chant from anything else, only the Vedic part of it is allowed. Now, the difficulty there, I'll give you an example. You cannot chant Lalita Sahasranam or Trisadi because they are not from Vedas, they are from the Puranas. Okay? And without Lalita Sahasranam and Trisadi, if you try to do Sri Vidya Puja, you will be like a blind guy running a marathon. Okay? Then the second one is Kaulacharam on the left-handed side. Has 2 meanings. Kaulam comes from the word kulam. Now this group is called a kulam. This kulam, this group of people are united in the worship of the Devi. So people belonging to this kulam, they have a collective discipline. That is called kaula acharam, kula acharam. Apply the word kulam to families, to groups of people, and all that, united in one way. Second meaning, kulam means petal. So if you know how to do arohanam and avarohanam of Shatchakra Japam, then you are said to be a Kula Achari, a Kaula Achari. The discipline of the petals. That person is supposed to be doing Kulacharam. If you apply that to Ganapati, if you apply that to Chandi, then it becomes Kaula Chandi, Kaula Ganapati. Okay? The third one is Samayacharam. No external implements or anything is required. Only Manasa Puja. Only in the mind. No Panchapatrams, no Uddaranis, no Yantras, no lamps, nothing. Everything is internal. Okay? So, Vamacharam, Dakshinacharam. Kaulacharam, Samayacharam. What is this? These days, there is no pure Vamacharam or Dakshinacharam or Kaulacharam or Samayacharam. They have borrowed from everyone. Little elements have been borrowed from little places and the puja has been evolved. This is called Misracharam, a mix of all of them. That is what is being practiced all over the world even today. Okay?
Next question, Aiya. How does one know whether one got mantra siddhi or not after doing japam?
Come again. How does one know whether they have mantra siddhi?
Yeah.
You won't ask me that question if you have it. You will know on your own. Don't think that if you have mantra siddhi, you take something and go, boom, and it will turn into gold. That happens only in stories. Okay, mantra siddhi is very different. Especially in Devi, mantra siddhi means you have become her. That means you will be the embodiment of patience and love and compassion and forgiveness and awareness. You will be completely forgiving of everything. Right? Mantra siddhi is not something you think that you can, if you do some things that there will be a miraculous result. That's not mantra siddhi. That's magic. Okay?
Next question, Aiya. This was touched on previously, but they asked, you mentioned that if kumkumam irritates your skin, you can put it up higher. How about for non-married females?
What they should wear on the forehead? Not sticker, that's for sure. There is something, we used to be able to buy it from stores. It is called sand. And in the North America, in the north of India, everybody uses kajal, right? Kajal is good enough for a dot on the forehead. If it is good enough for your eyes, why should not it be good enough for your forehead? அந்த காலத்தில், in those days, sand, what is prepared with a hibiscus flower, was what was used. My sisters grew up with that, so I know how they make it. I'm sure you can, these days, I'm sure you can buy it from the stores. You should not go anywhere without a dot on your forehead. And these days I have seen young ladies wear the dot, even married ladies. You have to take a microscope to see whether they have a dot there or not. Why are you afraid and ashamed of your culture? Why? These outlandish colors that you wear on your lips and go, you wear a purple dress, purple lipstick. You wear a glowing dress, radiant lipstick that will glow in the dark and all that. You're not You're not afraid, you're not ashamed to walk around town showing those lips to people. Why this dot is bothering you? I don't understand it. That means you want to belong to this culture and become totally and completely whitewashed. That's the reason. Learn to respect what you have taken, what you have brought with you. Right?
Can anyone chant LSN? Are there any rules and regulations to follow if they're not Sri Vidya Upasakas?
Can anyone chant LSN? Yeah, anybody can chant LSN. Please be vegetarian after that. Ha ha ha. You can't be worshipping the Devi and butchering things on the other side. Don't think just because you buy a frozen chicken in the store, if you eat it, killing that chicken, that sin comes to you. Every one of you who are non-vegetarians, please get permission and go and see a slaughterhouse one day and come back. You will never look at a piece of meat after that again. Otherwise, there is a video out in YouTube. It is entitled Food. Watch it.
Does Shiva have a yantra? Does Shiva have a yantra?
Shiva has a yantra?
Yeah.
Shiva has many yantras. If Devi has a yantra, Shiva has it. Because he's half of her. There are separate yantras. Dakshinamurti. In fact, one of the yantras that I am planning is Dakshinamurti Yantra Puja. Dakshinamurti, Rudra, Shiva, Chidambara Narraja, many yantras are there. Many of them are there.
So this also is kind of a follow-up question to that. So for Guru, is there a yantra?
Huh?
For Guru, is there a yantra?
Yes. Which Guru? Dakshinamurti is the ultimate Guru. There is a yantra. For the Guru in the Navagrahas, there is a yantra. Whichever form you take, Dakshinamurti alone, there are 9 forms of Dakshinamurti. Each one has a yantra.
I think they meant the Sri Guru again. For Sri Guru, is there
Sri
a
Guru, there is no yantra. Sri Guru only has feet.
Next question is, what is the benefit of buying a pre-energized yantra? Pre-energized. So from on. Yeah.
First of all, you should not buy a yantra. Buying a yantra is not okay. If you have no other choice and you are living in some God-forsaken place where nobody is there, and if it is available, getting something like that is not. But the normal thing is somebody must give the yantra to you. He must energize the yantra and give it to you. If you have no other choice, then there's no other way to do it. But he has to take it to his or her Guru and get it energized. Again. These days, if you go online, there are umpteen number of organizations selling pre-energized yantras and pre-energized rudrakshas. I don't know how you can pre-energize a rudraksha. Right? If somebody is telling you they are selling a yantra, stay away from those sites. They are only after your money. They don't care what happens to you. Look, you have to look for somebody and get the yantra from the original source.
Is it true that the 3 Bhuparams in the Sri Yantram were originally not there? So if then, when was it added?
I don't know. All I know is that the original Sri Yantra, the oldest Sri Yantra that is in existence, I have seen pictures of it. It is in the Baroda State Museum in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, and it has only the circle and the 14 outer 10, inner 10, 8 triangles, trikonam, triangle and the bindu. I have no idea when these were added. No idea.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought I saw some questions in Tamil.
They were Aiya, but I can read them. I translated it. Why can't you offer the same items for Muruga and Ganapati? Like Bilvam, Arasi, Tulasi, Kunkumam, Lotus?
Some of them are conventions, Aiya. I'll tell you a story. My original Upasana Murti was Subramanya. And in Sri Lanka, in the southeastern quadrant, close to the coast, there is an old Subramanya shrine. Nobody knows when it originated. That place is called Kadirkamam. Incidentally, it has received Tirupugal from Arunagirinatha Swami, so it is very old. Okay. When I was about 17, 18, my best friend and I, every New Year we would spend in Kadirkamam. And from the moment we step into Kadirkamam, on to the time we are out of it, constantly singing bhajans or any one of the devotional songs. He also sings. And part of this pilgrimage every year involves climbing a mountain where on the top of the mountain there is a veil, a spear, planted into a rock half the size of this room. Huge. Nobody knows when it was there, when it was planted, who planted it. Later, during my normal knowings, I found out Jnananandagiri Swamigal, the one who was from Tenangur, the one who happened to be the gentleman who sings Haridas Giri Swami's guru, he happened to be about 600 years old, it seems, when he planted this. And the Sri Lanka government, in their wisdom, advised by the so-called Buddhist priests, they wanted to pull this out and build a shrine for Buddha there. And they tried to take it out. They couldn't. They brought an elephant and tried to pull the thing out. The only thing that happened was that spear got bent a little bit like this. They couldn't move it. So we used to climb that mountain, carrying 4 gallons of water on our shoulders. Climb up because there's no water there. You go give it. Then when you climb down, halfway there is another footpath and you go to another mountain where there was a cave. And in that cave, there's a rectangular piece of rock where Subramanya is supposed to have, when he eloped with Valli, they used to stay there. And when Devayani came looking for them, they hid there. And that was also an ashramam. That's the story that was told to us. Anyway, there was a sannyasi there. One day we went, it was too late to climb down because it's elephant-infested jungle, elephant and leopard-infested jungle in that area. We couldn't climb down in time, so we decided we'll spend the night there with the Swami. And in the night, middle of the night, we did Subramanya Puja because I had been initiated into Subramanya Mantra. We did the puja. We did not have any Naivedyam to give him. Right? My friend had a can of Kraft cheese inside. So we had no other things to this thing. We opened it and offered it. Okay? So all these are man-made conceptions. Why you can't do this? Why you can't do that? And also in the same breath they say, if there is an emergency, you can break the rules. Aabattukku paavamilla. Right? So get over it. If it is available, offer what is prescribed. If it is not available, offer what is available.
Is there any effect of having Guru Padaka under your deity at home. Is it advisable or not?
Guru Padaka underneath the deity.
At home, yeah.
I would have the Guru Padaka beneath the deity at home. Yes, correct. That's exactly how it is in my house. Guru Padaka is the base from which everything else has grown. So correct.
How can I participate in Yantra Puja if I am not initiated? How can I participate in Yantra Puja if I am not initiated?
You can come and perform Bilva Archana or Tulasi Archana or Pushpa Archana or Akshata Archana or Kunkuma Archana when the Yantra Pujas are being done. You come and you can participate in that way.
Aiya, you teached how to retain the power in the deity, but my question is, how to retain the power within us after doing the japam every day?
How to retain the power within you by doing the japam every day? Before you do the japam, do the nyasam. It will keep the power within you.
This is a weird question. What makes a Sri Vidya Upasaka?
What makes a Sri Vidya Upasaka? One who has merged completely with the Devi. Very easy answer. Aiya Sanatana, that is Sri Vidya. And please get a hold of the latest issue or the latest publication, the latest version of the Sri Vidya Sri Chakra Puja Vidhi by Mua. In that there is a chapter that says Sri Vidya Upasaka Dharmam. Read that chapter. It will tell you what you have to be.
You mentioned that one must be married to do a Yantra Puja. Is this specific to Sri Chakra Puja or all Yantra Pujas?
What? 1 month.
One has to be married to do Yantra Puja.
Sri Chakra Puja.
Yeah. Is it
Not
just
Yantra Puja. I am just repeating what it says. You know, Tantra Marka Purushottamam Dharmini Sagida Yajamanam. In the company of the wife you must do. I think that was included to quietly discourage, especially the people from the Brahmin community in the southern states of India, Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, right? Where the wife is only good enough to make Naivedyam and produce children. They won't let her have anything else. I have personally visited a retired High Court judge who was a Sri Vidya Upasaka of a very high caliber. I have gone to his house. He has taken me in when he knew I was from a Sampradayam. And in the center of his house there's a temple built out of granite. And in the middle, the door and all that, you go inside. He took me inside. Sri Yantra Mahameru is there, but you can't see it. It's covered. He was telling me that his wife of 35 years at that time, she would cook the food at 4 o'clock in the morning and come and sit outside the temple. When it is time for him to do Naivedyam, he would have covered the Meru with flowers and then let her in, or taken this thing. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I thought, you're supposed to be a judge. What the hell are you doing? And he asked me, I know what you're thinking. I can't help it. This is the way my Guru taught it to me. And the next time, I have been to his house about 2 or 3 times. About the 4th or 5th time I went to his house and knocked on the door. When she came and opened the door, I knew she was a widow. There was no kunkumam, nothing. Okay? Then I asked her, what happened? And that Meru that he had, solid gold. He has 2 sons. One is a very famous, at that time was a very famous defense lawyer, criminal lawyer in Chennai. The other one was an IAS officer. So when I went, she asked me to come in and we talked about how he passed away and all that. I asked her. She said, I asked, what happened to the Meru Amma? Which of the sons inherited it? She said, neither did. Behind the house, there was a little hut where the servant's family was. And the servant had a 9-year-old son. Every day, before the master got up, he would get up, for years together, he would get up, come, bathe, collect flowers from the garden and come and keep it ready outside the temple for the master. He gave the meru to him. He initiated him and gave the meru to him and put enough money in a bank account so that this little boy could study engineering. So I asked her, have you checked on him? He's still doing the puja every day. So there are people like that. Okay? And I asked her, did you see the meru? She said, only after he passed away I saw it. Because she had to take it and give it to all the puja patrams, everything was solid, made with solid silver. All of them, everything he gave him. Not to his sons.
So this is an extension to that previous question, Aiya. So is this only applicable to males? Since the line recited from Yajnapada Stotram says, Dharmani Sahita Yajamanam, is this only applicable to males?
Does it apply only to males? Because in the traditional society, it's the male who did the puja. Probably a male wrote it. Right? But in Kerala, you go, it is not a patrilineal society, it's led by a matriarch. Have you been to Kerala? Go. It's the greenest place you want to see. You go to Tamil Nadu, everything is dry. You go to Kerala, everything is green. Wait, ரெண்டு question இருக்கு முடிச்சிடலாமே நிறைய இருக்கா
இல்ல just like 3 more.
Okay.
Okay. This is kind of the same thing.
Are you reading the questions in Tamil and are you reading it in Tamil and then translating it for me?
Roshi translated it, so I'm reading.
Okay. All right. Because there are several in Tamil.
There are so many different yantra pujas. What effect does it have on our body/mind? How does it change us?
Each of the yantra pujas points to a deity, isn't it? If you look at the Gita, the last chapter of the Gita is called Vibhuti Yogam. What does that mean? Vibhuti that you wear on the forehead? No. Any deity that you focus on, its blessings, its characteristics, its nature will come to you. Okay? So, whatever deity whose yantra puja you are doing, you will receive the blessings and the nature of the deity will become yours. That's the purpose. Done?
In 2 questions.
Okay.
In LSN, where the line says Vigna Yantra, can you explain that? In LSN, in Sahasranamam, it says Vigna Yantra Paharshita. Can you explain that?
It is to do with the legend. When Siva set out to destroy the Tripuram, the three states of consciousness, Jagrat, Swapna and Shushupti, right? He forgot to do Vigneshwara Puja, it seems, and the block was there. So after he remembered, he did the yantra and did the puja to him and went and this thing. That is the meaning of that. Now, in your own sadhana, go back home and apply it and see what you have achieved, what has been blocked. Because there are tantric meanings to that I can't explain here.
Last question, Aiya. For Viraja Homam, should you have Panchadasakshari and be married, or can you be single and have Panchadasakshari?
What? Do you do Panchadasakshari and inhale?
Illaya. So, for Viraja Homam,
Viraja Homam,
yep.
Okay.
Should you have Panchadasi and be married, or could you be single and have Panchadasi and still do the Homam?
If you are single, and you have Panchadasi, your life partner is your Kundalini. Okay? I expected somebody from the audience to ask, what happens to all the bachelors and the young ladies who are practicing? Nobody opened their mouth. You have to ask. If you are not married, Kundalini is your partner. If you are female, Kundalini is Siva. If you are male, Kundalini is the Devi. And in the Lalita Sahasranamam, there is a hint for you. Kula Kundalaya, what is the next line? Kaula Marka Tatpara Sevida. So, if you are single and you have Kula Kundalini as your partner, you follow Kaula Markam. And for Kaula Markam, there is what are called the Dravyams, there are what are called Pratinidhi. What is Pratinidhi in English? Representative. Instead of flesh, you offer ginger. Instead of alcohol, you offer honey. Right? Like that, there are Pratinidhis. So, Kulakundalaya, Kaulamarka Tatparase Vida. She gives you an answer for everything, man. Okay. Done. Yay! Okay.
Okay, so that brings our workshop to a close. I think we have a few minutes over. Just like to thank everyone for coming, and of course, Aiya for conceptualizing this workshop and spending so much of his valuable time sharing his insights. I just want to also quickly remind you, tomorrow's Pratingira Homam, and June 2nd will be the first in a series of Yantra Pujas we will organize. June 2nd is the Ganapati Yantra Puja. More information will be shared. And on your way out, please do stop by. We have more information about the Rajagopuram project. And there's also a box of donations if you'd like to make some contribution. Thank you.
You know that jarring sound that was just occurred? That was to wake up people who fell asleep during the workshop. Hello. Devotees, we have Sri Naresh Kumar here with us. He came to the temple for the first time on New Year's Day. He happens to be my Paramaguru's direct disciple, Suprakash Anandanada's disciple. So he has moved to Rochester. He is going to be here. And he was going through, looking through, he was nodding. He was checking to see whether there were any temples. And he came across Sri Vidya Temple Society, so he came here. So we welcome him. Thank you.